Arius barks at Slad to pack up and get out. Slad stays calm, knowing only Arius can stop the disaster and restore balance. The boy thanked him, begged him to save the world, and called his friend a true hero. Sweet doubted Ares could survive alone, but the hero's journey was just starting, armed with the world's ultimate boost. His powers were the world's strongest, and no creature could even touch him. Flashback time, last night he was kicked out of the hero's party, stripped of his rank, and turned into a mere traveler. An old friend kept pestering him to join the hero's squad. Slad joined the team to hide his powers, helping his allies while staying off the radar. Everything's changed, that's not the problem anymore. Disaster strikes, they're flat broke with zero cash for food or a ticket home. He realized a brutal truth: give too much selflessly and the people you help will eventually steal everything you've worked for. He flipped the perspective, calling this a true gift of fate for the hero. Helplessness crushed him, there was no fixing this. Desperate for work, Slad returns to the Adventurers Guild to hunt monsters and gather rare resources. His eyes land on an old lady nearby. She drops her heavy bag, spilling everything. He offers help, refusing to ignore her trouble. The grandma apologizes for her weak back, but suddenly she feels a massive surge of strength. She felt lighter and faster than ever, and Slad was hyped, calling it a massive lucky break. Auto support triggered the second he helped the old lady, boosting his stats and fixing his body with temporary muscle enhancement. Like the title says, he can't control his power. He knew his powers only triggered when he truly wanted to help someone. He put the team first, making sure everyone was okay. Slot realized his support skill was a joke. True heroes don't need help, they crush everything with pure skill. Grandma thanks him for the escort, but he brushes it off, saying helping others is just his duty. He can't buff himself, so he'll use his powers to carry his team. He might not save the world, but he'll save everyone around him. Grandma offers ice cream. He politely declines, but his stomach growls loud. She laughs, insists, and he happily digs in. Fed and ready, Slad hits the Adventurers Guild to restart his career from zero and dive back into the action. The secretary welcomes him, asking if he's rejoining the guild. He was a veteran guild adventurer who survived countless battles, but life forced him into early retirement. She asks for his adventurer's badge, but he left it behind, thinking he wouldn't need it. The secretary has him fill out a form to verify his info against guild records. He's skeptical, but the girls reveal the ink is magic. It confirms his identity and scans for special abilities. He's impressed by the genius tech, a basic pen that actually recognizes its owner. Spellbound by the ink, he meticulously penned every letter. The secretary told him to wait for his ID check results. An enraged man's rough voice shatters the silence, his aggressive cursing instantly grabbing everyone's attention. The elf screams at him to hunt goblins instead of partying. Slad notes elves hate the smell of booze, plus she's practically naked. The bearded man's worn gear screamed veteran, but the elf girl looked like a total rookie fresh from home. He slams the table, he's got something major to tell her. Slad cuts in, demanding both sides listen to reason and settle this peacefully. The elf snaps, claiming she has no clue and telling him to stay out of their business. The veteran heard both sides and backed the girl. She was right. He thought she'd be grateful just for the guild invite. The elf snaps and immediately starts protesting. Slad orders everyone to stay cool, no fighting superiors. Even a hint of trouble earns a brutal reprimand. He admitted he'd never seen the guy and didn't even know he existed. The veteran eyed the kid's gear and dismissed him as a loser, while the elf figured he was just annoyed. The angry vet snatched a beer and splashed the kid's face. He insisted every rookie train to master honor and discipline. He never expected things to escalate this far. A real duel over a simple misunderstanding, that's pure insanity. East was dead, he had to fight for his honor or be branded a coward. He snatched his hand, stopping his reckless move. She screamed, blaming herself. Screaming, the elf admits she crossed the line and has to fix her mistake. He insists this is strictly between him and the boy, the girl's not involved. Slad yanks his hand free, annoyed by the sudden interference. Tense and silent, the girl and the crowd trail the heroes, eyes glued to the battle's climax. Slad asks to move the fight, but the veteran refuses. He wants everyone to witness the punishment. He charges and the crowd recognizes him. Gonza, the legendary Class B bear hunter and the district's strongest fighter. The elf knew she was outmatched, and victory was nearly impossible. The secretary thanked me for waiting so patiently. She scans the area, asking everyone where the guy vanished. The elf begs for Ganja's story, the kid who shoved a newcomer into the street. The office worker panics, asking if the guy had black hair. She shouted, declaring he's the mysterious boy she's been searching for. The secretary screams to save Hansa immediately while the girl freezes, realizing they're his only hope. He swings with everything he's got as tension peaks. Time slows to a crawl, the outcome is anyone's guess. Vlad saw a bear of a man, fast, wild, and insanely strong. The enemy's massive size screamed one-shot power, but reality was a joke. His strikes were weak and completely useless. Hansa's fuming. Shocked by his opponent's insane speed, he doubts if this is even the same newcomer. He shuts them down. The problem isn't him, it's his opponent's slow reactions and predictable style. The moment he finished, a lightning counter struck back hard. The veteran's head spins, his legs buckle and he staggers, completely losing his sense of direction. The veteran is spent. He sways and drops to his knees, gasping for air, powerless to stop the young fighter. He's stunned to be gasping for air. The crowd's bored, they don't know this rookie and think Gonzo's just playing nice. They demand he stop stalling and end the fight now. Vlad offered a mercy finish, sparing the veteran from humiliation out of respect for his skill. He wondered if Hansa's massive armor slowed him down or if he moved like it wasn't even there. Furious, he snaps at the kid to stop joking, taking the mockery of his skills as a direct insult to his warrior pride. His hand snaps forward against his will, pinning his palm to the cold, damp ground. Panic strikes, his hand freezes, completely paralyzed. He screamed, certain he was magically bound, and accused the kid of cursing him, but the boy coolly denied it. Vlad's ability automatically drains anyone who opposes him, making them weaker by the second for an easy win. Hansa snaps, demanding to know what automatic weakening even is. He calmly clarifies he meant a special skill. Unique abilities are born, not earned, rare powers that create legends. Hans knows if this kid has one, he's a massive threat. Intrigued, he wondered why the young hero revealed his powers to him. Jealous elites want to crush these unique powers to stay in control, while powerful organizations hunt them down to weaponize their strength. He demanded secrecy, but Lad only exposed his power to save Gantz, telling him to surrender. Furious, the veteran refused to surrender to the kid, until a sudden shout silenced him. He warns Huns to surrender, or his muscles will fail and his bones will shatter, crushing his organs for a swift death. The man kept barking that a B-rank pro would never surrender, right as a massive strike closed in. His face contorts as agony surges through his body, his screams of despair echoing the absolute horror. Invisible forces crush his body, piercing bone and muscle in waves of agony. He's paralyzed, helpless against the pain. Hansa screams in despair as his armor turns into a heavy metal block, pinning him to the spot. That's exactly why Slad asked about the enemy's armor. His muscles are shredding at record speed and his body is failing. Stop now or he dies. He begged Hansa to finally admit defeat. He stared at the word change, deep in thought. Losing to a rookie made his blood boil, but the kid convinced him to quit before his inevitable defeat got even uglier. The veteran fumes, refusing to believe the legendary Hands lost to a rookie until the secretary calls for the SSS ranker, Slad Majesty Sama. The boy snapped toward the sound, eyes scanning for the speaker. The secretary says the guild master wants a meeting. Seeing that SSS rank, Hanser knows this guy's no rookie. He sways, loses his strength, and collapses onto the stone ground, completely motionless. Slad grinned, everything went perfectly. The enemy's down, the danger's gone, and his talent proved its worth once again. Footsteps thunder as a figure blurs through the crowd, charging the boy with mysterious resolve. The elf rushes him with a hug, crying out in relief and thanking the heavens the battle is over. She feared her weakness would get him killed, but he was ready to face brutal revenge just to protect her. Vlad awkwardly apologizes for worrying her after Etika's name rattled him. He apologized again for the trouble and thanked them deeply for their support. Everyone's in total shock. Did the secretary really just announce an SS rank adventurer? The news is too insane to believe. The worker marched up to the master. He shouts that the guild officially apologizes to top-tier adventurer Slad Maesty for the trouble. He should have kept quiet. The master never expected an SSS ranker in this tiny guild. Vlad thought he'd escape this. Impressed by his humility, the man recalled the rumors. This guest is an invincible dragon slayer but currently out of a job. Slad's ordinary, but his auto-buff and auto-debuff skills are broken, instantly boosting allies and crippling enemies for a massive combat edge. He sought a fresh start in another world to bury his past. The guildmaster asks why he's here. Slad's shocked they missed the point, so he spells it out. It's all about the money. He smirked, thinking the hero was just joking. The kid locked eyes with total seriousness, no jokes or clout, just the pure truth. The guild leader claims SSS ranks get power, status, and infinite wealth, but Slad admits he's just a broke villager scraping by. He smirks again, convinced it's all just a joke. The boy stared back with dead serious eyes, desperate to prove he wasn't lying. The guild master gets serious. S-rankers need a special badge for free food, lodging, and gear at all guild shops. Slad sees a massive estate with sparkling gardens and elegant pillars, the perfect manor. He's hyped, his high status is finally paying off, but nearby, Etika lurks behind a tree, tracking his every move. He spots her and she dives behind a tree, hiding her face in a shy panic to finally be near her dream guy. The heroines are stunned their friends ghosted them, but Ram doesn't care. Even Slad never imagined his expulsion would destroy the team. They drop everything and hunt the fugitive down. Fuming with rage, Disha hunts her traitorous friend to deliver a brutal lesson in justice. Mary frowned. This wasn't the Slad she'd finally started to trust. He became her teacher and taught her the language, despite her mixed blood. Dasha hated Slad's betrayal. His presence alone ticked her off until she thrashed him for backstabbing his friends. The guy finds a hero book at the city flea market, a place packed with artifacts that grant any wish. The book held vital intel. Dwarves are stubborn, strong, and agile, while elves are cold and emotionless. Elves are shy and struggle to trust others, but while Slad is reading, Edix suddenly falls on him, leaving them both blushing and embarrassed. She shyly apologizes, and he realizes this elf is nothing like the ones in his books. An hour ago, the secretary was stunned when the kid requested Karuna Ice Cave slime just to taste slime candy. The guild master just frowned. With his money, the boy could buy those treats every day. He gave the traveler a simple task: tame the western dragon Elzad. Slad refused, seeing nothing easy about it, so the man suggested ancient ruins instead. The secretary panicked as they. Confused by the panic and limited by her low rank, she asks him to team up. He checks the quest, goblin slaying, the perfect easy job he needed. Training rookies builds power, fueling the guild's success and the city's economy. The man orders a hike to prep their minds. Slad senses a mission, but they're broke. Time to scavenge the flea market for gear. The elf shows her partner a found dagger that suits him perfectly, but wonders why he'd need it since he's no thief. Slad explains the dagger as the owner appears. Slad defends himself, but the owner just tells them to browse. His warning: you break it, you buy it. Back at the guild, everyone relaxes with a cozy tea break. The secretary questioned the weird goblin quest, but the man took her doubt as an insult and confirmed the mission: total extermination. Yesterday, a veteran team vanished on this mission. Now everyone's whispering in fear, too terrified to touch it. This mission was vital. The crew heads out, Etika wondering if goblins are really child-sized. She'd seen these weaklings in the elven thickets before. Slad warned they're only lethal in packs, requiring special expeditions to clear them out. Then there's hobgoblins, vicious monsters that target and prey on girls. Hobgoblins are human-goblin hybrids, smarter, stronger, and reaching 10 meters tall. Then, the mages arrived. Slad realized he'd said too much and shut up. Etika just watched him, smiling. She worried she was a bother, but now he's her only choice. He's stunned. Elves rarely trust humans this much. She spots fresh goblin tracks leading deep into the forest, beckoning her to follow. She spots their hidden lair, a massive cave deep in the woods echoing with suspicious sounds. Slad plots to clear the guards, but Etika remembers her secret powers and makes a call. She summons the wind spirit Sylph, and he instantly appears to serve. Slad realizes she's a priestess and remembers their secret: more skin means more spirit power. That explains the skimpy outfit. Erica snaps, but he shushes her to avoid the goblins, ordering her to focus and fire. Alpha agrees, sensing his grim intensity as he explains the arrow must split to kill 2 enemies at. She's never done this. Slad can't help, so he tells her to trust his friend. His auto-assist kicks in. Taka's arrows strike the enemies instantly. She's stunned by the terrifying strength of her new power. She stunned the kid, soloed 3 enemies, while Slad notes Sylph's insane power. Etiquette's dying for some praise after braving nature's fury. Mid-speech, a new enemy lunges from the shadows to strike. He hurls his sword in a blind rage, crushing his foe for a dominant win. Etika's confused. She definitely hit the goblin's weak spot. Slad new auto-support made missing impossible. He strikes again. She screams, completely confused. The scout's looting goblin parts to snag the reward and finish his mission. Your proof of the kill, cashed in for rewards on every goblin slain. The boy warns Ephisha, adventurers aren't heroes. They're driven by greed and fame, and only the most ruthless survive. Slad realized the elf's mercy ruined his aim, making his shots weak and inaccurate even in a life-or-death fight. He had no skills to teach, only the road's harsh reality, letting her walk the path to learn for herself. A brutal lesson, but he finally knew the world's dangers and had a real shot at home. Heavy thuds and snapping branches echo from the deep forest as pure dread sets in. A berserk goblin charges forward, ignoring the party and everything else, fueled by a blind urge to destroy. Slad needs the enemy's aggro to trigger the effect, boosting an ally's attack and defense. Etika charged in a fury, unleashing elemental arrows to end the fight fast and save her partner. She screamed at the monster to stop and never touch her family again. Fuming over the misunderstanding, the elf girl pummels a clueless, aching Slad. He risked his life to save her, making them family. She lives to protect these deer but doubts if that's enough to be a real adventurer. Sweets recalled his family's warnings: elves and humans never get along. Elves treat summons as family for life. They seem cold to strangers, but the boy learns the truth: no one cherishes family more than an elf. Ithaka says properly prepped goblin ears make powerful medicine for bruises. Slad smiled, calling her kind and dreaming of traveling and taking on quests together. He recruits her and she tackles him with a hug, vowing to prove she's the ultimate partner. Ares demands to know why she's leaving. She says her journey is over, but he roars back they're more than just a group of adventurers. Furious, he asks if she's really quitting the team and ditching the mission to save the world, questioning her sanity. She slips behind Ares, smirking as she dares him to stop her from quitting, baiting the ex-leader into a fight. Unlike the Virgin and Witch, Ares doesn't care about the world. She joined the heroes just for dungeon loot, but now she's lost everything. Everything was fine until the ordinary carrier quit, and now the leader's fuming because they won't stop mentioning him. He didn't get the guy's role. She was done and leaving, but not to run or betray. The husband snaps that the loser wouldn't have changed a thing. Her old ally calmly confirms that's all he needed to know, says goodbye and leaves. While the leader sulks, she finally tastes freedom and picks their path, though she worries Slad might be offended. Ares knows his rage firsthand and warns them to stay sharp. Former friends are the deadliest. Ares's coming-of-age ceremony begins, revealing he's a natural-born hero. At 15, he learns he's destined to slay the devil and save humanity. He cared for no one, yet the crowd bowed. Relishing the power, the hero agreed to slay the devil on his terms. Suddenly, a modest hero named Slad blocks his path. If this guy vanished, the girls would finally notice him. Why did a random bellboy have to ruin everything? Etika's fed up with the endless dirt. Slad apologizes for ignoring her but kills the torches. Goblins will spot the light. She could do it easily, but he'd be left blind. He just needed time for his eyes to adjust to the dark. Slad shadowed an expert thief, mirroring his steps to bypass every hidden trap. With her here, things get easy. Slet tasks her with night vision overwatch, and Etika happily promises she's got his back. She feared the hobgoblin was the boss, and the guy confirmed its massive size. Luckily, the beast was too dazed to even notice them. He's fleeing in terror, hunted by a lethal threat that's driving him into hiding. Ix hears a sudden strange clatter. She thought the trap was too obvious, but as he tried to stop her, the floor gave way. She plummets, but he catches her. These goblins are smarter than they look, rigging traps from both above and below. Itaka eyed the deep chasm, annoyed that these cunning goblins had the nerve to set such an insulting trap. Slad realized the trap was perfect: go around or straight through, you're falling in either way. It looked like a setup. They were waiting for a goblin mage, a dark magic user fueled by negative emotions. The ratchets are too risky. A goblin ambush would be a disaster. To keep his friend safe, Fullauto asks her to summon the earth spirit Nomo. A tiny earth elemental pops up, looking like a miniature wooden person. Thrilled by her miracle, she trusts his lead as he charges into battle. Now, everything rides on their bond and teamwork. Evil faces emerge with greedy eyes ready to strike. The boy screams a warning: goblins are closing in. Lad called it. The goblins dodge the traps, using noisy rattles to mask their next move. They rigged a secret trap deep in the cave to crush their enemies. Etika tears into the goblins, stoked their plan worked perfectly. This tactical play gave them the upper hand and eliminated all danger. Slad figured a smart boss means the minions know exactly where the traps are. He remembers Nomo, the earth spirit who turned their small pit into a massive crater. The Goodwins sprinted down a safe road right into a trap, a simple plan but way too professional for any normal person. An old friend teaches him how to outsmart his enemy. Etika calls the digging cruel but Slad says Nomo wants her trust, so she praises the spirit's hard work. She asks if he found anything but he says it's pointless, there's nothing here for adventurers. He told her to look away, these tunnels are part of a massive underground maze. The flight spotted a ton of fresh tracks. This room is a massive crossroads, the central hub linking every path in this cave network. The wizard knew a goblin could strike any second. She left her friends to guard the entrance, trusting them to sound the alarm if enemies appeared. Slad objects spirits can't be in two places at once, he's sticking with Nomo to face the path together. Etiko summons a massive spirit to fight by her side but the boy panics, begging her to wait and prepare for the lethal risk. Noma towered over them like a massive rock, his calm confidence giving the boys hope they'd survive the journey. Slad stuck, a sleeping giant spirit blocks the only way forward. Etika apologizes for the accidental summon but he brushes it off, blaming his own weird talent for the fluke. This auto-activation has a major catch. This passive buff boosts ally strength and slows enemies. It's massive power but totally uncontrollable. He pushed for the smallest spirit to keep the allies' power-ups from spiraling out of control. Seeing the massive spirit, the goblin bolts, desperate to hide and survive. Slad targets the boss room and gears up to crush the enemy for the win. Etika claimed the final blow as her destiny, ready to go all out and prove her strength. He watches in awe as she seals the entrance with thick earth. Etika can't block every exit so she's setting a trap. When the enemy retreats, she'll bury this passage to cut off their reinforcements. The boys roar as battle begins, charging forward with unshakable confidence to claim their glory and adventure. Slad wondered, when was the last time a risky, unpredictable adventure felt this good? Insults fly as rivals hunt his skills after he quits. Etika asks why he's frozen but distracted by her scent, he realizes this is what makes his adventure real. The elf senses the rot. Slet warns that goblins love the filth, meaning the mages are close. She shudders, picturing a human skeleton, as Aurora charges in, kicking up dust. Looks like the goblins are in a full-blown civil war. Magic fire meant the goblin leader was lurking nearby, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This isn't just a mage, it's a rare goblin witch, a cunning and dangerous threat. Goblins hunt in packs, elites split into two, brute warriors and dark mages. Men enslave women until one awakens goblin mage powers and rises to the top. Slad realized he was facing a rare goblin witch, a man-hater far deadlier than any mage. Even the gobgoblin was fleeing her territory but Slad still has no clue where he's landed. He asks Etika if the monster has backup or if they need help. She tells him to look closer. The boy sees the captured party as the elf spots bones on the path. The goblins are prepping a dark ritual. Slad knew Etaka was outmatched against the monster's hidden powers. He wanted to stop her but memories of being called worthless held him back. He agreed with Arius, a powerless nobody with a hidden ability. He supported the team from the back using items. Slad stayed back but now he's saving the adventurers and justice despite having zero powers. He was certain he'd be the hero to slay the goblin witch. He tells Ethika to ignore the witch and clear the mobs with his Nomu while he charges straight into the fray. He roared, ordering them to stop the attack. The boy weaves through the mob, dodging strikes and closing in on his target undetected. Etika crushed it, dropping enemies one by one with perfect weapon control. The goblin witch winds up a fireball but Slad shuts her down with a long-forgotten, basic technique. Switching tactics, he triggers provocation. He knew the witch's massive strike was unavoidable. The witch unleashes a god-tier spell. Etix tells her friend to flee immediately. His passive wiped every buff, leaving the crowd in total shock. Slad eyes his companion, asking if she's shocked by what just happened. Blinded by exhaustion, the witch thought he was insanely strong. Slad ordered the witch to use poison claws and drop her guard. He crushed her hand, bones snapping with a sickening crack. Immune to her charms and poison claws, she's now wide open for the final blow. The witch stayed hostile. Etika rushed over, frantically asking what happened. She knew his secret, time to come clean no matter how ugly the truth. His passive debuff drained the witch until she couldn't even stand, leaving the elf stunned by his broken power. He admits this is why Hansa beat him, leaving the girl impressed. Slad explains this auto debuff instantly tanks enemy stats while invisible internal damage builds up every second. One tap shatters bones with a sickening crunch. Ethics called it powerful but the boy didn't care. End the hate and everything resets. The girl pitied the hateful, untrusting witch and tried to save her but the boy just sighed. it was a lost cause. Her rare curse makes direct hits useless. She only dies from poison, bleeding out, or old age, making his skills the perfect counter. Etika bursts into tears, frantically wiping her face as they stream down like hail. She realized the witch's hate and curses were fueled by her own misery. He sadly realized her hate would destroy her, sealing her own tragic fate. He prayed her next life would finally bring the peace and happiness she deserves. The travelers are stunned. It's a rare monster. Without the guys, they'd be part of this sinister temple forever. Etika's archery shocks the group. His brother pulls off a perfect distraction and they finally spot the exit. A stunning view opens up, lush trees, bright sun, and fresh air. It's a perfect paradise for the soul. Vlad praises Etika's first win, reminding her of her vow to protect those she loves. Strangers or not, these adventurers were ready to die for the city. They celebrated, relieved she'd saved them. Impressed by the elf's survival skills, he calls for a massive bar party to celebrate. Etika thanked her friend, hyped for her first real adventure. She knew she'd fail without him. She knew their bows and grit could crush any obstacle, even the deadlier trials ahead. Slad stuck to the plan, staying close to back her up with his power. Efika's fuming. Slad's passive debuff stole credit for her archery and spirit summons. She needs a drink to handle the shock, while Slad claims he only lied to keep her happy. She's insulted. Her teammate totally undervalued her help, even though she was just trying to be useful. Slad admits she's elite and he's useless alone. She's already carried him all day. Etika's visiting his hotel today, leaving him completely speechless. She gasps at his incredible room, but the massive luxury bathroom steals the show. Slad thinks she's diving, then realizes he hasn't vanished. Etika reassures him as long as he's close, everything's fine. He hears a noise but ignores it and walks away. He remembers Etika's a minor, but since elves age slowly, he's confused why he's even overthinking it. She asks why he's there and he's stunned by her speed. Blaming the booze, she eyes the SS class room and flops onto the bed. She loved the soft bed, but Sullauto was blindsided by sudden thoughts about his partner. Feeling like a fool, he rushed to find Candy and returned with a shy apology for the delay. Slad smiles at her deep sleep. Her first big adventure finally wore her out. Etix turned, calling today's adventure a total blast. Adventures weren't fun anymore. After a quest with a friend, his skills drew a crowd, landing him a spot in the hero's party as a simple bearer. Europe knew his power, so he quit the road. Now on the new continent with ethics, Slad's reclaiming lost time to finally feel like a real adventurer. He clears his head to focus on travel costs and finding a bed. He can't sleep next to her, and nights on this new continent are long. Biddy says this is where real adventurers find their thrill and leave their worries behind. She whispered a promise of eternal happiness and Sled was stunned. She was straight up proposing a life together. Atiko slept like an innocent child, but his eyes caught the S-Class privilege notes on the table. The book promises free nighttime fun to stop casual hookups from ruining team chemistry, the guild's way of avoiding the drama. Popular in Europe and America, he thinks this system is genius. Unlike normal calls, you can actually vent your worries to the girl. Middy's success caught her off guard. In elf tradition, calling an outsider family is a marriage proposal, and she's stunned he's this clueless. She claims friends aren't family, but Sled notes elves treat companions like kin. She admits she can't truly bond with a man from another race. Middy saw nothing strange. An SS rank adventurer offered help, and she wasn't about to turn down a gift from fate. She'd even be his second wife, but Slad rejects her. He can't afford the dowry. With no friends but spirits, elven guys ignore her for being plump. Her only real talent, summoning spirits. Slad knew her spirit summoning past. Middy confirmed her sea-level potential, then suddenly kissed her. Eddie's ear kiss is a proposal. To accept, she just has to kiss him back. She leaves him the child for a ritual, warning that elves are kind but never forgive betrayal. Be a friend and you're safe, but the boy begs her to stop the scary threats. Etiko calls Slad over to join her feast. He says he was just walking, but the moment he sits, his food arrives instantly and he's hyped. After talking to Middy, he still couldn't make eye contact without overthinking it. Don't ask him directly, he'd die of shame over a mistake. Etika brags about her special elf veggies. Shocked they crushed the witch, the secretary sends a priest for the corpses, baffled how they walked away unscathed. Etika explains they won because Slad predicted the enemy's moves. Slad claims he read it in a book, reminding them he's SSS rank. The boy asks about SSS rank, but the secretary shuts him down. No skills, no adventuring. High ranks require innate talent and at least one rare skill. S rank exists to show rare ability, users their true worth. SS rank requires more than unique skills, you need massive feats like saving a country. S rank is elite, but SS legends have literally founded nations. The squad learns SSS rank means world savior. Hailed as a hero, he doesn't deny it since his powers trigger automatically. Secretary hands him the papers, he asks if this confirms his award. She hands him a marriage application and proposes. He's stunned, but she explains it's just a legal formality with zero interest in actual marital duties. Etika protests, but the secretary shuts her down. Etika claims she's Slaughter's true friend, but the secretary thinks she's just a gold digger after his SSS rank power. Etika valued status, but Slad was her best friend, she wouldn't let him marry a gold digger. The boy apologizes and the secretary agrees, refusing to live with a lifetime of regret. Etika waits at the exit, leaving Slad wondering if she's mad or if he even matters. Suddenly, an employee grills him, how does he really feel about the elf? The boy thanks Ethics for ignoring status pleasing him. The girl calls her weird and asks if everyone's like this. Learning it's rare gives her hope even if she expected. Sled blurts out a proposal, then shocks the elf by revealing he knows their secret custom, calling a spouse's family human. She says the elf is just grateful, not a bride. He considers challenging that and Etika hopes he will once he knows her better. Marriage right away is too fast. He finds her flustered reaction sweet, but the elf snaps, telling him to stop smiling and quit looking at her like a proud grandpa. Slab needed gear before shops closed, but with no plan on this new continent, he had no clue what to buy. He calls her his kindred spirit to justify his morals, forcing himself to believe it's destiny. Their journey starts now. Slad asks who's waiting and hears it's a bandit. He's stunned by the blunt intro while the bandit finds the hotel surprisingly cozy. Sheka greets him, asking if he's shocked, but the guy claims he can find him anywhere. Sheka's stunned by his absolute trust. He missed me, so he's back with 3 updates, starting with the one that'll definitely get a reaction. Without Slaughter, the heroes are toast and the world is finished. The heroes went all out. Isha's shocked the first strike failed, cranking the battle's intensity to the max. Ares realized the enemy was stronger than ever. The Mother of God admitted his attack terrified her, but when the leader claimed she was being unfair, he shut her down. Ramiri says Slad always spots the enemy's weak points. Even from the sidelines, his value is absolute. She thought Shichu was a weak carrier, but he's a beast. After the massacre, the leader didn't even recruit or look for the missing member. The witch wonders what the hero's thinking, but Ares orders a strike to turn the tide. A massive wyvern looms over the battlefield, ready to strike and terrify every hero. Slad, stunned the hero's team is finished. He demands to know how this disaster could break the world. When the SSSX hero Bylade, the team collapsed, putting the entire world at risk. The bandits shocked he was spotted, but the daily inspector saw him coming. He's baffled, how did he know about the morning rounds? Traps became a joke after she joined the hero, raising red flags. If Slad were hiding, he'd use a fake name, which leads to his second question. He ditched the hero's party to avoid the drama but still felt guilty. His friend realized he's a good guy, after all, every adventurer gambles with their life. He didn't think they'd lose without him. Shichai was the real blow, he'd stay local while they moved to the big city to find a replacement. She bet 500 gold. Ares leaves town without a single recruit. Sklad fears Eris will fight alone, but his friend thinks he's overestimating the hero. Eris won't ask for help in a city without high rankers, making him as shocked their old leader was a real adventurer. Siko calls him naive, just whine about money and you get everything you need, and he's right. Sklad admitted he was broke from voluntarily covering others' debts as a guarantor. His friend finally understood the struggle, but despite the empty pockets, Sklad's gamble still hit big. Erida left yesterday with her squad. Solo attacks are impossible, you need at least 2 fighters to cover the rear or the whole team falls. He calls it rigged, but Shisha throws his own trust no one rule back, silencing him instantly. Bandit won't let him go. He ignores the challenge, but his final news is bound to cheer the kid up. She confirms he's an ally as he introduces himself, claiming he and Slad are fellow heroes glad to reunite. Etika snaps, why hide his hero team past? He swears he was just a porter, never expecting a traitor. She has to trust him, his unique skill is too valuable to lose. After tracking the SSS rank rumors, the elf confirms the plain-looking Slad is the hero, and their new ally swears he's a good guy. Slad hyped, asking if the heroes were in danger and if they needed to move now to stop the disaster. Saving his expeller felt too soft, but as a teen leader, Slav only obeyed because he was forced. Etika offered to help, hearing the hero was already pulling off massive feats. Slad cuts the talk. Shetcher agrees, noting the hero has a holy sword but zero riding skills. The bandit knows Ares will survive even if he uses them as bait. Etika doubts the rookie will pass probation, while Shetcha calls him a rude, arrogant jerk who ignores everyone, making the leader wonder about his flaws. The elf agreed to help the hero's squad. Slad asked if the kid had cooled off. He said yes, but his face still looked annoyed. The leader knew Shetcha's forced moves were actually genius plays to spy on the hero team. The bandit orders Etika to stop Solfa's wind. She asks why, but Slad's already spotted something. The elf spots him and demands answers, but seeing the truth, she freezes in terror as the real danger sinks in. Chicha IDs the hat as the Remeri witches from the hero's party and bolts in terror. Etika confronts the leader about the man who just left, her voice trembling with a desperate need for answers. Svad disagrees. Remeri wouldn't leave a gift in the woods if she were safe. Shetcha returns. Ares and his squad are gone, no tracks, no bodies, nothing. Svad thinks the wind blew the hat from the battlefield and wants to turn back, but Etika tells them to wait. She couldn't believe their indifference toward their friends in danger. The leader apologized for the mess. Chicha knows their role and how it looks. If she keeps adventuring, she'll eventually understand everything too. Sklad felt powerless. The bandit hunted the hero while Sklad just watched. Etika apologized, but his friend wasn't mad, just shaken before cooling down. Chicha's usually sharp-tongued, but when he masks his emotions, his calm composure settles the whole team, even Ari. Slad knew Shisha wanted to stay. Finding Rimri's hat, Etika briefed the new members. He suspected nothing until his face turned terrifying. Chicho acted like a greedy, cruel bandit, but it was all a front. He secretly sent his gold to heal the sick. Slad looks scary, but he's actually harmless. Don't judge him until you hear his side of the story. Most importantly, Shich will never regret her chosen future. Traces were found, no time to relax. Etika claimed he and Slad were tight, shocking her into demanding his source. She didn't get his embarrassment, but Slad felt. No grave meant Ramari was alive, a relief for the elf. Slad knew the Holy Virgin would have buried her if she died, but she's clearly out of the. She checks for illness, spotting blood. If she's alive, her mana is returning. Time for a closer look. A deep scar splits the ground. The bandit reveals Disha's secret move won the fight in one shot, a perfect critical strike. 50 years ago, Demon Lord Yuzenhar appeared and built a paradise for evil spirits. Under Ushamgar, monsters turned feral and attacked humans. The Demon King then cursed the world with a thick illusion mist. Abandoned corpses turn into curses, so the guild usually uses sacred skills for burial. But with no grave in sight, Slad knows the truth. Raymery is still alive. He realized that Cutmark came from a critical hit. Dish's unique critical strike exploits weaknesses for fatal blows. Etika's hyped, convinced this makes him the ultimate warrior. Slad warns it's not that simple. The Holy Virgin can't fight, she's all about holy defense. One-shot skills are lethal, but holy power users usually lack combat experience. This attack isn't for monsters, it's a last resort for dead-end situations. Slad warns them to keep quiet about Disha's sensitive talent. Spotting tracks that prove Disha is carrying Ramenry, she orders the group to move out fast. Ari realizes this monster is a rare species. This wafer is way stronger than any opponent they've faced. Hero feels sick, but Disha says it's just his body recovering. Mary unleashes Airblade. She locks onto the wyvern, diving through the air to shred the beast with everything she's got. She launches Airblade, her specialty for flying targets. This same spell once grounded a massive wyvern. Ramiri's kill shot failed. The wyvern is still airborne, circling the field and forcing her into round 2. Enraged by the miss, the wyvern lunges at the girl. The witch begs the heroes for help, her eyes a mix of despair and hope. Ara smirked, savoring the moment. His friend was doomed to the hungry viper. He faked an apology, but inside he was loving it. Their leader just watched as Disha rushed to save her friend. She snaps up a barrier, tanking the monster's next strike. She triggers critical strike, channeling all her power into one precise hit. Mary rejoiced, her perfect shot hit the mark. The witch shrieks at Slad, her voice piercing with terror. Esha agreed, sure he'd protect Ramery again. He was just a weak, unarmored bearer who looked like he'd die from any danger. Ares laughed, praising her performance. Ultimately, the girl rejected her sacred duty. Isha demands to know why he didn't protect her, but Ares is baffled. How could his sacred sword help from that distance? The Holy Virgin expected a hero to at least master the air blade. Ares laughed, calling air blade a basic skill. He's so sword-reliant he forgot normal strikes, and he didn't care if she died, his magic would finish the evader regardless. Isha slaps him hard, her fury boiling over his cynical words. She saw him as a dishonorable scoundrel. Ares roared in fury, shocked she'd strike him, still clueless why it mattered. Isha delays the talk to get Ramara to safety. The hero vows to protect them both tonight, guarding the witch who can barely stand. Finish this task and they're silenced forever. Monsters will swallow their words, and that annoying carrier is history. Etika points out a house in the middle of nowhere, shocked she spotted it before he did. Bandit bets 1,000 gold they'll stop here. Slad knows it's a lock, the tracks lead straight to the estate. Only 2 sets of footprints remain. He wonders where the others are, but she explains the rain washed their tracks away. Etika senses trouble, the noisy spirits just went dead silent. Slad spots danger and sends Shaichi to scout. He agrees instantly, ready to risk everything for his friends. Ethics reeled, suddenly questioning if she'd misread the entire situation. Sweet tells her to trust her gut and speak up if things feel off, because when danger's near, intuition is everything. Small details save lives in a crisis, his partner agrees. She's impressed, praising Etika's killer intuition. Mansion is a monster. Slad suspected it, but the girls reeling, they nearly fell for a lethal trap. The leader reveals 3 deadly lures, a house that devours magical beasts and a freak hotel packed with undead. At the 3rd house, fate was waiting. They knocked, but silence answered, and that was suspicious. Slad confirms these mansions are ownerless and lawless. Isha won't fall for the same trick twice, but the surrounding areas are still fair game. The leader warns anyone used to death would spot a fake hotel instantly. Traces have vanished, a 3rd monster is loose. Slad breaks into a cold, terrified sweat. Suddenly the night terror fairy appears. Slad stands in a lavish, empty hall. The girl welcomes him to her dream world, and he realizes he's asleep. He asks her name, then spots a rare nightmare fairy zipping past. Shocked by this unique monster, the heroes wonder, is it legendary tier? 16 ultra-rare monsters exist, each wielding godlike power. The night terror fairy takes many forms, leading some nations to worship her as a god. The mansion isn't the fairy's true body, it's just a shell used to walk our world. One teammate panicked, realizing he'd just shamelessly knocked on her door. The boy shrugs off the light shots, sure the fairy won't snap, until a massive bang rocks the area. The fairy laughs, claiming she's good. The boy realizes she isn't the Demon King's puppet. She warns only the lucky survive these magical dreams, but he thinks she's full of it. She warns that visitors to her estate never return. Furious he's ditching his friends, the fairy calls it suicide. The satellite screams, doesn't he realize the Demon King has overrun the world with curses and chaos? She realizes with horror, the Demon King is the weakest of the 16 rarest species. Sweet confirms the 8th monster, Nightmare Fairy, is only average strength. The satellite screams, a new invasion, a new demon lord. He says Oleg's doomed. She warns it's a suicide mission, only luck brings them back. The fairy doesn't send nightmares, she reveals your soul's deepest dreams. He reunites with his friend. The hero smirks, confident they'll pull through. She asks why, he says he's already fought a special monster. The crew's stunned by the news, but he insists it was a total accident. Slad's team is gone, but he finally understands why he was the old continent's SSS rank legend. First, he's gotta talk the Nightmare Fairy into returning the boys. His friend's impressed and instantly covers his back. He tells her to stay. If the plan fails, she reports to the king. He apologizes, realizing she won't survive alone. Smiling, she accepts her role and tells him not to worry. Svad knows everyone has a role. Without her warning, they'd all fall blindly into a dream world. He walks up and tells her she did amazing. Hero claims it's his turn and heads for the mansion. He reaches the door, figuring he needs to knock 3 times. He knows it's a dream, facing the Nightmare Fairy he came to meet. The fairy's glad he knows he's dreaming. Most people forget the truth once they enter the dream world. He refuses to drown in dreams, that's why he does it. The fairy calls her urge to talk wonderful and tells her to embrace it. He enters a hall of music and treats, prepared just for him. The fairy offers him a feast, but he's clueless, thinking it's all a dream. The fairy snaps, did he really just underestimate her dreams? She explains that everything in this dream becomes reality. Slad knows the fairy only creates what she desires, and if the dream dies, you die for real. He smirks and says he's down if she insists. Thrilled he likes her, the fairy turns sweet and charming. He nearly gave in, finally realizing why no one ever leaves. The fairy says escaping is easy, just want to wake up and he's out. She says he doesn't need it, here he can live worry-free. His friend wakes him up, saying he was totally wiped last night. Oromu's bored, he says he's calm but she knows he's hit his limit. Satellite knows without the guild, things would have been way worse. Barry asks his business, Slad wonders if she's reading his mind. She warns you can't wake those she's taken, only they can choose to wake up. She'll grant his wish but only if he asks her himself. He sweetly vows to reveal the whole truth. He asks her to let him enter their dreams. The hero wakes up in a bizarre white forest, totally lost. Fairy pops up hyped he invited her. Everyone knows her but nobody wants her company. She says it's the witch's dream and of the three this kid wants him most. Iris wonders why Odia is so quiet. Odia admits their talk about the past left her with one burning question. She fears the team will crumble without his support, knowing he vastly underestimates his own worth. She didn't notice her power spike, thinking the spirits were just in a good mood. A month later, she realizes her buff also nerfs the enemies. They say he's too cautious, but she calls him naive for spilling his plans the second they teamed up. They realize he wasn't hiding anything and had his reasons. Girls trade anxious looks, questioning his motives. Ethics laughs, admitting it doesn't know either. She mocked Tiz's act, certain Sled spilled his secrets because he's in love. Etika blushes and agrees, finding a brand new reason to tease her. Chich says Slad thinks he's mediocre, but he needs to start believing in himself. Etika's SSS rank can't stop this. Shecha tells her to imagine life without her priestess powers. Shech says they're one with their powers but Etika still thinks she's just a normal adventurer. She says powers define them but Attica thinks they're not even cool. Chicho reveals the truth, Slad is powerless. She defines automatic, their skills are self-reliant and ready anytime. He can't help it, his skills trigger automatically. Erika asks if that's why he's so cold. Shicho says his power is nothing special. She loves it, finally free from the burden of responsibility. Facing the consequences of your actions is brutal. Shecha fumes, praising Edic's skills. Edic's awkward but Shecha admits he envies the weak. Rimri's hat and her sick mother send him spiraling into a flashback. Slad's ready to remarry and starts hunting for the perfect bride. Hero sees Raymary's a half-blood, but they're both just like normal kids. He knows she wants a normal life. The fairy asks for his next move. Slad walks up and greets her, noting the nice weather. The fairy's thrilled but he thinks she praises his every move. The witch welcomes them as guests and asks what they need. The little girl rushes him. He asks if she's just a memory. She admits she likes him and he realizes she's nothing like that witch. Sweet reveals they're in a dream and tells little Memory he's taking her home. She refuses, the fairy promises no harm but hates to crush her happy dream. He says goodbye but the witch begs him to reconsider and stay. She asks about another child, hinting at someone else. Half-blood hides behind the witch. He wonders who she is, they look like peers. The witch says he's not in her dream. He claims he's needed elsewhere and bails. He walks apologizing. The witch calls him SLAD, this room is now a total mystery. Determination flares in her eyes as she begs him to stay. He knows it's Ramari, only his age and outfit are different. Hiro asks if she hates her demon blood. She says she absolutely does. She wishes she was born normal to avoid this. He remembers her words. He recalls her warning, she can't forget demons aren't traded here. Everyone feared her but he was the only one who didn't turn away. Only Slad used her name. Fearfully she realizes he finally recognized her. He asks to hear it again. He thinks he sounded stupid but she disagrees. Slad tells her she's beautiful just as she is. He grins, asking if she remembers her goal. He remembers their wedding perfectly as they stand before massive luxury gates. Eyes blazing, she vows to crush the Demon King. She wants acceptance for mixed bloods, but he knows the world will always look down on them. He knows she's aware of the risks, but he leads her down this path anyway. Slad calls for departure as the fairies wake up horn blares. She recognized the area. Suddenly her companion called her name, Ramiri. He flashed a smile. This wasn't a dream, the real Rimuri stood right before him. Slad notices his hat is gone and taps his head, trying to remember. Two girls appear in the forest, one calling the other Rimuri. Ramirez finally reveals where she's been. She says it's a long story but first she has to return something. Wait, the girl replied, she says. Rimuri noticed the object she held was filthy. She begs her mom for forgiveness. Attica suggests calling the warrior Dama to end this fast. She's Slad's new girlfriend. She snaps that she gets it but refuses to take the blame. The girl suggests summoning the house spirit to fix the hat. They swap intel at night before the hero returns to the estate. Around the fire, the heroes call out the ram for lying and driving Slad away, but no one's surprised. They expected this betrayal. Ramari reveals Eris tracked the rare wyvern, while Disha's clutch strike saved the squad. Disha carries Ramanri while Ares insists they spend the night in a forest mansion. The blessed virgin finally agreed to rest. Both girls then trashed Ares, calling him the worst hero for failing so hard. The soldier insists Eris is still a hero, no matter what anyone thinks. Ramari's shocked. Why is the hero title so important? Disha stunned. Someone doesn't get why the hero title matters. The immortal Demon King rules the world, but rumors hint at a new, ultra-rare weakling monster. No ordinary man, the Demon King cursed the entire world. Under his rule, peaceful monsters turned evil and started hunting humans. To slay the Demon King, they need Arius's sacred hero power. She apologizes, blaming the Demon King for everything. Slad's shocked she'd call the heroine a monster, doubting her love for Ares. Ethics still doubted this fool could save their world. Eris's power isn't unique, but Slad refused to believe anyone else held it. Disha confirms the skill is real, but it only surfaces once every 10,000 years. Multiple heroes never exist at once. The girl sadly regrets Slad didn't become one, wishing he had. Flat claims he's just a jobless loser, but she insists he's anything but ordinary. Rimri hugs Slad, calling him a brave, jobless man. Disha says his act went beyond heroism. She says the hero escaped the nightmare and returned Ramari, a feat destined for legend. Svad insists the nightmare fairy is good, begging them to keep his legs a secret to avoid attention. Ramari quits the hero team to become Slad's partner. She warned her, without the Demon King hero, victory is impossible. Is she really ready to quit? Ramari refused, certain there was another way. Disha cheers that it's true, and Slad finally gets it. Slad finally realized why he followed Arius and his true purpose. Disha didn't plan Wyvern or Nightmare Fairy, but she still feels guilty. The girl is just relieved. She says sorry. The heroes were clueless, but Shitch was already fleeing with the narrator as the crowned one demanded answers from Slad. Slad's teaching Eris a lesson on the true meaning of friendship. He cut his story short, demanding Disha and Ramanri leave too. The girls blast him for forgetting the Demon King mission, calling him a total failure. They ask if it's Ares. Disha demands respect for their skills while another questions Slad's true power. Etika crowns Slad her hero, but Slad realizes Romari knows his secret. The heroes still need his power, but they're sure they'll win. Slad claims he can build a team to slay the Demon King. The heroes knew he'd be back. Shocked, the hero realizes he has to fight this girl. Slad recalls entering the Holy Virgin's dream world. He greets the Nightmare Fairy, who confirms they've escaped the mansion and promises to fulfill his wish. Nightmare claimed fulfilling that dream was easy. Slad thanks her, preaching dream world nobility. He nicknames her Nightmare to fit her title, leaving the shocked fairy asking why. Slad worries he went too far, asking why she's so reckless. Nightmare asks if he means her true nature, claiming she only lives for his desires. Slad realizes dream fairies are formless. He created the Nightmare from his own desires and old stories, and the monster confirms it. Nightmare lives to watch travelers' happy dreams, and her appearance doesn't matter. Slad wasn't surprised, she was a true monster and a rare breed. Nightmare reveals Slad can finally talk to her. His real joy makes her happy, proving this is more than just a dream. She credits Slad for her dream, but he's shocked she even had one. Nightmare puts the dream talk on hold. Slad's wish comes first. Slad saw through her dodge and set off to find Disha, surrounded by the majestic aura of perfectly placed god statues. He confirms it's a temple, but it's way too eerie to be a place of worship. Slad's stunned, no priests, just monks. These aren't holy men, they're a specialized combat unit. He knows these pros train in the garden, but even for a dream, this place feels off. Slad spots a striking girl with green gold hair and blue eyes. She's slim and looks exactly Disha's age. Slad spots her in a monk's tracksuit, not sacred robes. Only one glove remains from her Holy Virgin outfit. The hero recalls a beautiful memory, but even without faith, this prayer looked anything but holy. He's stunned, an outsider getting in while everyone else is rejected. Sladix realizes Nightmare was right, wishing is enough. He spots Disha and calls her name. She lands a hit, leaving the hero stunned. Slad's stunned by the precision. No real D-shell could pull that off. She looked exactly how she wanted. He should have died instantly, but he managed to survive. His auto debuff just kicked in. He wasn't welcome, and his powers don't work while he sleeps. She wondered how her crit worked while Slad braced for the worst. Slot knew the stakes, die in your sleep, die for real. He forced the thought away. He realized his power could kill her too. Slad reaches out, but Disha shuts him down. Why'd she attack? She gasped. Disha wants a one-shot kill and tells him not to resist. Slad cuts her off. Disha admits he deserves it. The hero's clueless why she attacked, but Disha screams he abandoned them. Disha swears she trusts him. Shocked, she realizes it's the real Slad. Slad's power is dead, but he still regrets ghosting the team. He figures Disha is just sleeping to clear her head, then realizes Ares lied, he didn't escape. Disha says one hit is only fair. Slad's roamer mindset returned. Friends or not, he didn't trust them. He felt replaceable, only his skills mattered. Slad thinks he's still hunted. Disha asks what happened. Slad promised he wouldn't vanish this time. Hero asks if they're crashing at a weird demoness's estate, warning Slad to stop joking or get scolded again. Slad wants to check the temple, but Disha warns that dreams are just distorted reflections. She pauses to think. Disha agrees but says she'd have refused Aris. She won't believe it until she sees those weird monks herself. The girl was left in total shock. Slad sees Disha's denial and explains their subconscious built this dream world. The hero apologizes, thinking he's safe, until he realizes something is dead wrong. Slad tries to get noticed, but only gets a cold, formal greeting. He's livid, everyone's ignoring him, but Disha says they're just busy. Slad doubted Disha wanted to be ignored. She grew up at the temple and every priest there had tried to talk to her. He understood but hesitated to step in, fearing he'd offend Disha since she insisted on returning to training. The hero finally saw the truth. Svad disagrees, recalling she knew him and the hero's team. He reveals Disha is the Holy Virgin. He should tell her parents, but they'll never believe it. Disha's father sold her to the church for a bag of coins. Her parents begged for forgiveness, but the sobbing girl told them not to cry. She vowed to be strong. Slad calls Disha the Holy Virgin, but she insists she's just a rookie nun. The hero hesitated, asking Disha if she truly wanted the Demon King dead. She says it's everyone's dream and they're counting on her. Daisha loves being their only hope. Slad asks if Disha wanted this too. Hero recalls Disha healing his lethal wounds during Ramiri's rescue. She confirms, since Slad wasn't the target, his powers didn't trigger, leaving him near death. Slad and Disha discuss her usual attitude as she notes the carrier's insane boldness. Disha brushed it off, saying it wasn't even worth a thank you. Slad wasn't surprised Disha skipped the "you're welcome." To her, healing the wounded is just the Holy Virgin's duty. He smiled. Even in her dreams, Disha stayed just as kind. Slad eyes Disha, realizing monks can't use healing magic. Crowds roared the Holy Virgin appeared, but others insisted she wasn't there. People begged the Virgin for safety, the hero's victory over the Demon King and a sign of God's grace. Slad realized Disha was a priest in her recurring temple dream. Apologizing for the break, he told her to remember. The hero explains that holy girls are born to serve others, forced to abandon their dreams for a talent they can't refuse, just like him. Slad saw the truth. Disha's drive to save the world even shows in her dreams. Never forget she was the Virgin Mary. She has to choose, Virgin Mary or none. Slad tells Disha not to forget, but she calls him irresponsible. Jisha questions her gift. Slad says failing her dream is okay, but reminds her she still craves combat. Only Slad gives her a choice, just like back then. She only wants to hear it from Slad, and he's giving her his answer now. Now the Holy Virgin, Disha tells the faithful their prayers are answered. She vows to fulfill her mission, end the Demon King's war, and bring peace at last. The girl vowed to return them to serenity. Disha taps Slad's head, telling him to wake up. Slad realized this dream was real. Leaving the mansion, he realizes he never knew Disha dreamed of becoming a monk. Disha didn't want this. She's just doing her duty to help people and only does what's required. She confessed she kept forcing herself to believe this was her dream. She's hunting for her dream. Disha vows to rescue Ares, but Etika wants him trapped in the dream. Ramirez calls Ares trash, but Disha defends their partnership. Ramirez warns her, don't let feelings ruin the mission. Disha is still stubborn. Slad compares her to peas hitting a wall. Disha's mission, guard the hero and save the world. Disha argues it doesn't matter if Ares used Slad's skills to get strong. No one else like him is coming and only he can defeat the Demon King. Slad underestimated her stubbornness. He apologized, ended the talk, and flat-out refused to help Ares. Disha hated being misunderstood. The girl asks the silent Slad for his take. Slad confirms awakening Ares was the plan all along. She asks if he'll rejoin the heroes if Ares accepts him. Slad's got one condition. He kept his powers secret from Ares. Furious, Disha snaps that he'd lose that ego if he knew her true power. She defends her skills and tells him to shut up. She offers her power, asking why his pride matters more than the world's fate. Slad counters it's not that simple. Slad calls Disha but she says that's not the point. The hero says once Ares learns his power, he'll quit fighting. Slad quit fighting the second he discovered his powers. He was just as confused as everyone else until the guy who recruited him to the hero's party mentioned it. Slad thought he was the problem but he was wrong. Ares' true identity is a bombshell. The hero's team is just a PR stunt, and since he's the world's only hope, he's untouchable. Everyone. Slad says this man ignores the world for raw power. He's no hero, just a narcissist obsessed with himself. He wouldn't face certain death against monsters if he didn't care. Slad's ally still thinks Ares has a heart. He asks if their hero would really die for anyone. Slad reveals Ares only cares about himself. Ichinaudasa, kids who thought the world revolved around them but in reality they were all flawed. Sweets calls Ares a hero who never grew up. The team agrees he's childish but wonders how that connects to his abilities. The hero's powers act solo and he won't take orders from Ares. They all agreed nothing made sense. Slad named Erida, refusing help from anyone. Disha warns they're too weak to kill the Demon King, so Slad forces the hero to accept his help like it or not. Stunned by the truth, they see how it all fits. One asks, does Ares even look like a kid? He says they'll think it's nothing. Slad confirmed Ares meant everything, he'd even hand the world to the Demon King for her. The hero reveals the secret to strength is self-love, claiming the god-chosen Ares only beat the Demon King thanks to a lowly item bearer. Slad knew the world would never accept this. Teammate calls it a lie. She reminded them they were raised to save the world with the hero. Slad thought he was dependable but he was dead wrong. He finally gets it, that mistake was way too dangerous. Disha agrees they'll keep Ares's powers a secret when he wakes up. Slad finally convinced everyone to save the hero. Disha admits she's lost, realizing she's only ever lived for others. Etika tells her to stop fearing the unknown and embrace new possibilities. Etika asks Disha how they'll both land a hit on Ares. Disha apologized, stunned by her own words. She suspected the hero had a secret goal beyond just saving the world. Strange, they just met today, but she felt like she'd known Etix forever. Disha redirects the slide to save the boy. Slad grins, calling the mission vital. Nightmare appears in Slad's dream, it's time to move on. Slad asks what's wrong. The fairy says the Virgin Mary wants an apology and the little witch is looking for him. Nightmare says the hero is unique. He asks to see a dream but she warns him against it. One man's dream is another's nightmare, every dream is its own world. Porum asks Slad if he's still leaving. Nightmare claims some souls should sleep forever, living their dreams where they can't hurt anyone. Slad insisted it was true, the hero was their only hope against the Demon King. Slad's waking Ares up. Slad was certain his crew would return for him. Did Ares deserve to escape after his crimes? Slad's answer was a hard no. Slad asks Nightmare what's wrong. Hero calls it obvious and Nightmare loses it. He's the mind reader but she knows exactly how he feels. Nightmare claims he only wants her soul, adding she's dying to strip for him. The fairy shouts her face is the night sky, calling her life a beautiful dream. Nightmare says these lonely stars are sweet dreams sleeping inside her. The fairy says calling them victims is rude. She says cruel fate brought them here to fulfill their desires. Slad agrees but Kashmir cuts him off, she already knows his thoughts. Nightmare tells Slad she has a dream of her own. Her dream, bring the whole world home and give them eternal, peaceful sleep. Slad stunned, Nightmare snaps back, he's involved too, no exceptions. A knock at the door brings an urgent message from the Virgin Mary, sent by the heroes. Message read, the heroes face a nightmare fairy but the thief, witch and holy virgin help them escape, finally rescuing the hero on their third raid. The hero reads that the bearer is unconscious, and now everyone's begging the king for help. The hero's stable and conscious, but the king orders them to wait. The king asks, did he just say goalkeeper? Her name's Slad. He points, shouting he's also there on the ground. Thinking they'd lost again, the girls scrambled for answers until they realized the dream estate had vanished. The boys returned alive but won't wake up. Disha says they're in a coma and even sacred spells are useless. The suit's on the floor. He finds the nightmare fairy and calls her dream pure cruelty. Slad asks the fairy if she'll be alone forever. The fairy says dreams are isolated, talking to others is just talking to yourself. Sleep is eternal loneliness, but her home is a dream world where everyone stays happy by ignoring reality. Fairy agreed until she met Slad. Slad's shocked, Nightmare is the only one who kept his memories inside the mansion. The heroes shocked, the fairy confirms others tried but the dream world wiped their memories and killed their will to talk. The fairy tells Slad he's unique, forgotten dreams can't be fulfilled in sleep. Tearfully overjoyed, she admits his determination to see her just fulfilled another dream. I thought everything before was a mistake. Talking to someone awake is way more interesting. Slad's shocked the fairy had no clue. Nightmare claims her dreams might have gifted someone salvation. And he lost everything they loved forever. Hero hugs Nightmare, admitting he misjudged her dreams as evil. She's actually kind. Slad got lucky. His auto-defense saved his memories after she sensed the danger and killed her power. Nightmare's powers are fading with the illusion, but as an immortal, aging can't touch him. Slad asks if the debuff hits the Demon King harder, and Nightmare confirms. The hero boosted her power, making him the key to killing the Demon King. If he beats her, they have a real shot at winning. Nightmare admits she can't control her power. Guests vanish into the dream world wherever she goes. He begs Slad to touch her. Slad looks her way as Nightmare suggests testing if an immortal can die. She proved it. Entering the hero's dream is impossible by choice. There's only one way to wake him, and the Nightmare is ready for Slad to destroy her. Nightmare grins, telling Slad to drop the look. It's wonderful. Slad says no. Hero tells her to cool it. Her words sting more than her rage. Slad stunned. How could she ask a friend to kill themselves? He questions if they're even friends. After everything, how could they not be friends? He won't kill a kid who truly repents. Slad's got a plan for Nightmare. Hero's unsure it's possible, but he still believes they'll be fine. Slad entered the dream world to save his friends, and he's not letting Nightmare go until he sees his own dream. He reveals her true name is Night Vision, the power to bring any dream to life. Nightmare beamed. He was right. She could grant any dream, and she finally knew it. Slad hyped her up, telling her to believe she'd win and Nightmare would pull through. Nightmare eagerly pressed Slad, dying to know his ultimate wish. Slad approaches Nightmare and asks her to team up. That's how the hero landed on Earth. Slad awakens. Slad stunned to find himself in the royal chambers, summoned by Nightmare. Nightmare asks how Slad slept. Slad asks if they're still asleep, but Nightmare shuts him down. The dream is over and this is real. Nightmare grinned. They followed his plan perfectly. His auto buff works on her too. If the debuff is active, the enhancement must follow. Slad stands by his logic. Nightmare's plan was simple: befriend him. She explained his skills boosted her magic, finally giving her total control over her powers. She says the rest is on her. Slad apologizes, asking why he passed out. Nightmare's power spiked beyond her control, trapping Slad in a deep, unbreakable sleep. Slad's shocked her look didn't change in reality. She explains it's hard to shift since she's pulled straight from his memories. Nightmare now rules every dream, making reality inescapable. Sled is mesmerized, calling her a unique being with absolute power. The fairy turned Aries' dream into a nightmare to wake him up fast. There's no time left, but she's shocked. Why is he here in the real world? He's with friends, so she heads out for a walk. Sled's panicking. Did he just screw up by giving a rare monster that much power? Sled forced himself to stay calm as Etika asked what happened. He thanks her for the fruit but can't move yet. His friend explains he was in a coma while Ari woke up instantly. Everyone was worried sick. Long story short, Disha shows him a scroll with big news. Aries woke up, hit the courtyard, and quit the team. Before a giant statue, Disha warns that betraying a hero is betraying your homeland. Serving Slad, the Virgin sits and reveals the hero is suing the very people who saved him. Disha gets a month of updates while Sled wakes up stunned he's been out so long. Finding the boys out cold, the girls drag them into the tent. As rain pours, the witch watches Slad sleep with a heavy heart. Arius smirked and pulled her close, asking how the porter could sleep if a haunted house caused the boy's condition. Romri shoves his hand away, baffled why Aries is even awake. Fed up, the hero questions why Slad should return after deserting them, and the Holy Virgin hears it all. She exposes the lie. Slad didn't vanish, he was kicked out. She demands an explanation from Address, who immediately starts making excuses. He demanded absolute trust, but the enemy exposed him as the commander who fled. The truth hits Eris hard. The hero shouted, calling Slad a useless carrier and making it clear he didn't care if he stayed or left. She says Slad leaked the enemy's weakness, but Aries brushes it off. He'll end them in one blow. Romri says the porter would die for them, but the hero snaps that a worthless witch deserves to be cannon fodder. She warns Owen would be dead without Slatted. The hero's face darkens, sick of being powerless. He told his team something was off. This carrier was useless. Pointing at the elf, he demanded to know who she was. Etika froze, then leaned in and claimed she was Slad's friend. The hero burst out laughing, mocking the loser for somehow landing a girlfriend. Ares grabs the elf's chin, warning she's being tricked and mocking Slad as a mere pack mule. He scouts her for his elite hero squad, demanding she join and worship him. The boy says he'll date Ethica despite her low rank. The elf bursts into tears and Ramary rushes to her side. Weeping, Etika agreed. Eros was a pathetic soul who only loved himself. The girls freeze. Hero sits by the elf asking what Slad means. He thinks it's Elvish, but Etika is completely lost. She says Ares called that bearer lazy and foolish. The hero doesn't know him, so Romary asks if he knows her name. Caught off guard by the tension, she screams he'll fail, realizing the hero hasn't even called her by name once. Irie mumbles a denial. Forgetting the witch's name, he calls her Riel, making the crowd lose faith in the heroes once again. Ares didn't even know their names, they weren't friends, just staff. Commander's single word cleared their doubts. Eric scratched his head, playing it off. She cuts him off. He's on Slad's team now. He joins the girls and Ramary approves. The witch knows together they'll crush the Demon King. The girls won't budge. The hero laughs, asking if Slad kept them up all night, making them switch to the ordinary carrier. Ares realized this was more than sabotage and couldn't believe the girl's betrayal. Ignoring his words, the witch screamed and charged the hero. She speeds up, blasting him with magic as the hero spins and crashes. He tries to rise, but Shaicha pins a blade to his face. Don't compare yourself to Slad, the elf warns, looking absolutely lethal. The Holy Virgin stops and demands Shisha confess his shame, but he seizes the chance and bolts. Disha resumes the story after their fight. Ares stayed at camp to sleep, but that night he made a move. At night, the hero pestered Erica and got trashed by the team. Disha tried to scold him, but Erica defended his right to meet outsiders after dark. Surrounded, Shija claims he'd be smarter as a woman, so Romary flashes a scissor sign, suggesting a fix that won't nerf Eris. Mary warns it'll be ugly, so they must finish before Slad wakes. She asks the girls, ready to start the competition. While the hero worries about the girls, the team takes turns pummeling his face. After the fight, Disha praises the girls and tells Eris to grit his teeth. He knows her special move is coming, but she ignores his pleas, claiming she can't hear him. Disha strides up to the helpless hero and knocks him out cold with her power. The holy girl hoists the hero up, refusing to kill him because his death would cause too many problems. Disha warns Arius to stay awake. The witch is still standing. One massive blow sends the hero flying into the forest. Romary's strength stuns the team, a unique power unlike anything they've ever seen. Slad's still out cold after the ghost mansion. The crew pushes for the capital to find a cure, dragging the criminal Ares along as their prisoner. Eris hits the castle, but the witch and elf sneer, demanding Sleda be removed. Sick of their cheer, Aris barks at them to shut up. They hit a muscle-bound beast, but only Ares struggles, proving Slad's power triggers automatically even while he's asleep. Reaching the capital, the team realizes they're splitting up. Anika worries for Slade, but since strangers can't enter the castle, the elf tells her to keep watch. Ares passes Disha and the boy, spots the hero's grin and asks why he's so cheerful. Ares rallies the heroes to see the king, swearing his old team will regret betraying him. Disha finishes her story. The guys are charged with treason. Dead silence. Slad smiled, but he was panicking. How did Orca sleep for a month? Was this even him? The Holy Virgin was shocked. The king granted Eris a trial. Cassiv was a legendary high-rank traveler, and without his brilliance, the Demon King would have wiped out humanity long ago. Cassiv decides to assemble a hero team to crush the enemy, but Disha is baffled. She doubted Ares' dumb claims would stick, but the trial's in 3 days. Slad's awake, so he's attending too. Etika steps in, admitting she's clueless about humans and begging them to spare her friends. The Holy Virgin backs the hero's team, vowing to protect them and expose Ares' true identity. The witch warns this choice ends Ares' hero career. Disha tries to argue, but Slad cuts her off, dead serious that Ares can still be a hero. He brushed it off, knowing things could have been way worse. Etika panics, asking what Slad means, but the guy looks to Disha and Romra, assuming they already get it. Ares brawled, drank, and robbed nobles, but his hero status made him untouchable. The witch denied it, knowing Oven had been caught before, but they were out of leads. Slad explained the hero was never jailed because his actions were always justified. Eris looks like a fool, but he's a survival genius. Slad knew the hero understood the stakes, so he issued the challenge. The guard missed the king's real play. Yielding to Ares meant a dungeon, but instead they're getting luxury rooms and a feast. He had no right to judge, so he stayed silent while the terrified witch clung to Etika. Slad demands to know why the elf is in the royal castle, but she's completely clueless. The kid says they're at the castle for a trial, but doubts Etika's involved in the hero team's mess. She hesitated, then spilled. Soldiers stormed the hotel, claiming that if she belonged to their unit, she had to go. Slad asks if Ramery was there, learns the witch was in the shop next to the elf, then asks if Erika's been summoned to court. The elf says she must answer every court question. Disha grabs her, declaring her a witness. The Holy Virgin bans Etika, one conspiracy charge, and their testimony is worthless. Ramery claims the guards let her pass, but Slad's suspicious. If the king wanted a fair trial, she'd be under house arrest to block her from Etika. He hoped the hero would finally pay. Trial day arrived and the doors swung open. The team enters to find Ari waiting. He smirks at the traitors while Slad joins the girls at the defendant's bench. The king slams his hammer for silence, announcing the hero's trial starts now. The king opens the case with the demands and calls Ares forward. He vaults the table to face the judge. Casey grills the hero. Did the witch and thug really quit after crippling the ram? The hero smirked and confirmed it, but as he began his tale, the king's cold voice cut him off. Kasov was done listening. Furious, Ares shouts he's not finished. He rushes the judge, breaking the rules until the king barks an order to back off. Heroes forced back, the holy girl steps up and he grills her. Is she really the last one left on Ares's team? She calls the hero a liar, making Ares snap. He screams for silence, barely held back from attacking Disha by the Strali's spears. After that courtroom outburst, Kasov orders the mage to cast a silence spell. Ares tries to protest but only chokes. The ruler snaps that only witnesses can speak without permission. He warns the hero, one more slip-up before the spell finishes and he's kicked out of court. Gritting his teeth, the hero surrenders. Kasov demands to know why she called Ari a liar, reminding her that 3 teammates already ditched her. She asks the king to tell the story in order, revealing Ari kicked Masti off the team. Disha explains the truth while the scans hide her friend's real power. The Virgin claims the hero left the witch as Martin bait, but Disha reveals Ramyari walked out because she couldn't stand him. Kasov understood and asked Slad for more. Slad stayed silent, thinking he'd never have to testify. Slada flinches under Ares's insane, livid glare. The hero tries to scream, but the silence spell keeps him muted. Slad tenses. Kasov slams his gavel, ruling that since the Virgin's testimony matches the accused, this is an internal conflict. The king steps aside and acquits the accused. Disha's thrilled, the crew is stunned, but Ares turns pale. He's the one getting punished now. Cassie moves to limit the hero's powers, and Slad finally realizes the king's trial is a total setup. The magician slams a stack of complaints on the judge's table, admitting he's only keeping the ones that fit his agenda and trashing anything that raises doubt. She's stunned by the complaints, and Slad knows it's time to finally come clean to Ares. Kassieva vows to depower the hero, but Slad notices Ares is eerily calm. To him, this was normal, only he could save the world. Now he waited for the king's next move. Chichu Elfamil is called forward. Surprised, he steps up to a custom ladder waiting by the counter. The judge grills him on his super memory, and the elf breaks a sweat. Chichu almost argued but just agreed, shocking Slad since the elf never mentioned his powers. The king grants Ares total freedom as the world's only exception, but first, he must prove he's truly worthy of the hero title. Shecha heard it himself while Slad thought the phrase was so common he doubted the king even said it, convinced everyone, even Ari, just ignored him. The judge ruled the hero abused his freedom and failed his duty. Ari's crimes can no longer be ignored. Chica saw the hero's feats, so Cassie orders her to project those memories using truth magic. The elf bows, vowing to match the king's power. Slad was hooked. Hyper-memory plus lie detection creates the most undeniable testimony in history. The royal mage summons his team and activates light exposure. Kashev tells Shicharu he'll need help recording Ara's feats in the other room. Slad stunned, he expected action now. Why are the judges exposing the lie in open court? Magic hits Shicha. Casey asks if his super memory is a natural gift. Dazed and unable to lie, the elf admits the power isn't his. Slad stunned, the king reassures the elf he's not a criminal, then asks Shicha how he got his power. Magic forces the elf to confess. He used skill theft to steal the skill. The courtroom erupts, forcing the king to demand silence. Slad finally sees his limited hand and Kassiv's true plan. He thanks the elf, then asks if Shicha can steal Ares' hero skill and transfer it to someone else. Guilt-ridden, the hero realized skill stealing was broken. The elf tried to protest, but Cassiv cut him off, demanding to know if it was even possible as he turned to Shichi. The elf agrees. Cassiv stops the interrogation, apologizes for the trauma, and releases Shisha. Knowing it's his last shot, the hero lunges for the counter, screaming for them to wait as his silence breaks and the words pour out. Ares' hero skill can be stolen or traded. Now, a single mage is his only hope. The king almost kicked Ares out instantly, but decided to hear the desperate boy out. Hero screams, vowing to change and begging to keep his peacekeeper title as he slams the table. Strength gone, he collapsed and begged. Cassiv spoke, everyone gets 3 fresh starts. Ares seized the moment to prove his resolve to the king. The judge mocks Ares' 3 sheets claim, barking that he's crossed the line. Despite the king's elite allies and luxury, the hero shows 0 gratitude. The king's livid. Ares trashed everything and dumped his powers. He apologizes, but Cassiv shuts him down. It's too late and he'll never forgive thee. The words hit Ares like a blow. He collapsed, clutching his head, realizing it was over. The ruler waved him off. Rival sorcerers seize the hero and the king delivers his verdict: life in an underground dungeon. Ares snaps, lashing out at everyone. He fought for peace, but the kingdom repaid him with a prison cell. Guards drag the hero out as he screams about injustice. Ares follows, leaving the room in dead silence. The king sighs. The trial took way too long. The ruler grants a 3-hour break. The group talks strategy and things go smooth, but Etika just watches from the sidelines. The witch chirps that Shichi should have used his skills on Ares sooner. Slad tries to stop the sensitive topic, but Shichi cuts him off and walks away. The elf leaves, but the witch is still clueless. Slad explains that unique abilities are a touchy subject. He realized their friend was dodging the topic. The witch mumbled she'd apologize to the elf later. A voice in Slada's head doubts their chances. He snaps up to find Shicha, but the girls know it's a waste of time. The elf won't take his help. He knew the score but couldn't leave things like this. He told them to stay put, he'd be back soon. Slads hears Nightmare calling the traveler and bolts after her, leading him straight to Shicha's farm hideout. He sat in a trashed room with a packed suitcase and an unconscious elf, clearly rushing to leave. Slad spots the bag. His friend is ditching the team without a word. Nightmare appears, urging him to find the girl before she's gone forever. Slad was confused. He approached Shicha, then suddenly collapsed. Waking up in a hall before a massive screen, he realized he'd entered an elf's dream. She stood stunned as Sled questioned the elf's presence. His ally told him to ask the elf directly. He's been here before. A family dines on screen. Slad asks what it is, and Shiha regretfully admits it's the happiness he destroyed. The elf tells his story. Back on the old continent, he was the skill thief, and he earned every bit of that name. He stole powers from villains to save lives, but doing it again would be pure hypocrisy. Chichita forgot even villains have families, and his thievery ruined innocent lives. A memory swirls, revealing the truth. Shecha strikes, ripping the memory power from the villain. He tells Slide he doesn't want him dead, just humbled. Once the elf admits his mistake, he'll get his powers back. Shichir died realizing abilities are part of the soul and can't be separated. Realizing stealing abilities was too cruel, the elf vowed never to take another skill. Slad knew the king predicted Chica's failure, but Kaziv's interrogation of the elf baffled him. He realized the judge was proving to Arius that the hero title isn't permanent, it can be passed to anyone worthy. The elf still sends the family money. The mother's still grieving, but the kids grew up and started families of their own. Slad knew the city was a wreck and was glad his friend didn't offer empty praise. In this ruined dump, there was nothing worth celebrating. Chichen knew he was being selfish, but he refused to strip Ari's powers, telling the king he didn't care. The elf saw through the ruler's bluff about skill theft, so Slad asked why he was still leaving. Shicher apologized for exposing his secret skill, but Slad understood, adding that Romery also wanted to apologize. The elf turned away, smiling as he told them not to worry about the witch. Slad stopped him, vowing to handle Romery herself. He tried to say he wasn't coming back. Slad hated the theft but didn't want Shichai to quit. He knew he couldn't stop the elf, but he wouldn't let him leave until Romery apologized. She freezes. Slad catches up as the companion remembers the elf fled his family, certain they'd never forgive him. Slad figured she was stalling for an apology, but it's too late now. He asks if that's really the truth. The boy grilled the elf, forgiveness or a curse. helping his family in secret was the easiest way out. Sisha finally snaps, shouting his agreement to flee the easy way alone as tears stream down the little elf's face. He whispers he'll always be alone, but Slad counters, reminding him Chicha stayed calm that day. The elf is clueless. Slad despaired when Chicha's plan endangered Romery. A friend's support kept the bearer calm finding the hat, but the elf still blamed himself and ached to act. The hero pats the thief's head, telling him to stop running. Chicha finally gets it and his whole world changes. Slad says the elf can't change the past, only the present. She storms off, cursing. He winks and grins, saying his friend's advice is solid and he's rarely wrong. The screen flashes, the dream ends. Slad says it's simple. Chicha must apologize for being a shut-in and the elf's face shows he's ready to do. The party recovers and returns to the girls. The elf bows in apology, but Rumeria confronts Shechai, admitting she's hurt if he'd left without a word. The elf tries to apologize, but the sorceress lunges, pinning him and the girl to the bed. Clinging tight, she finally says sorry for her hurtful words. Svad's happy but misses Etika crying behind him. Overwhelmed, the elf lunges for a group hug, knocking everyone onto the bed. A messenger arrives for Court but catches the group in bed and bolts. Slad's too slow to stop her. Court's adjourned. The heroes exit after exposing the Ares' crimes and ethical violations. Surprisingly, everything went perfectly. Caught in bed, Slad couldn't explain the misunderstanding, only dreaming of finally going home to rest. The king ignored Ares' final order, sending guards to force an escort. Slad knew his rest was over. Entering the king's hall, the team finds Disha with Kaze, and she's thrilled to see her friends. The crowd swarms the ruler, shocked he summoned an army for one lone man. Kasif watches, intrigued. He's safe. Casey says he'd wreck everyone at once, and the king stands to prove his insane power. Tension spikes. The Shichu girls freeze as Kasiev asks Slad if he's hidden his true power from everyone but Ares. Kasiev hugs the boy from behind, smiling as she calls him dangerous. The girls are clueless. Slad's fuming at being called suspicious. The king admits he's weird but says that's not the point. The king sets things straight, praising the boy's talent and letting the girls speak freely before dismissing the guards. Shecha asks for a moment. Etika's relieved she can skip the formal talk. The international language is a struggle. Raman notes Kase is actually friendly. The Holy Virgin disagreed, insisting they stay respectful even before His Majesty. He wouldn't budge. He asks if Disha is always this serious and the guy confirms she's all business. Suddenly, she grabs him, pats his head and warns him to watch his. Kasif questions the rules for an old friend, but the girls cut him off before he can mention the ministers. They had no clue Slad and the king were former teammates. The crowd erupted, but the boy was already used to their drama. The rulers laugh as he reveals he was once a traveler turned king. He tells them to accept the elder's hand, vowing to quit drinking if the youth refuse. Disha tried to stop the king's casual talk, but Ramery cut her off. The king allowed it himself. She sits, opens the food and her mouth waters. It's delicious. Edix tries the slotty and agrees, but the Virgin Mary panics, shouting that the ruler eats first. Kessie agreed and threw a massive banquet, ordering everyone to drink and celebrate. King sits and smirks, admitting ruling is tough, especially the hero's messy case. Slad's reports success but questions the ruler's decision. Realizing they're still clueless, he decides to tell them the truth. The king asks about their old commander. The girl snaps back, he's pure evil, total trash, and they don't trust him at all. Kessie demands a trial. This kid's been a tyrant and a skirt chaser since childhood. At his ceremony, his hero skill revealed the birth of history's worst savior. Ares is a true hero. He's already crushed every previous demon king. History proved the priests right. Now everyone, even the Second Continent's elites, believes the legend. His battle-hardened allies begged him to surrender while they torched his family-turned-evil spirits. Speechless, the king was forced to let Ares become a hero, despite his own doubts. Slad finally saw the play. This was a massive call, and just like in court, his friend stood by the crew he built. He thought he was the ultimate hero, unaware his power came from the bearer. Kasif regretted the invite, but the witch disagreed. Disha and Shicha disagreed. The Holy Virgin claims without him, the hero's party would have crumbled way sooner. The king teases his friend for being a ladies' man, who jokingly claims he's more popular than the king himself. The elf cries that they're safe as long as Slad is near. He asks when the half-elf arrives, but the witch senses a mockery. The blessed virgin promises her blessing if they marry. He wasn't bothered, already dreaming of a quiet life with the elves. His blushing wife quickly changed the subject, mentioning a dwarf builder she knew. The king builds his team, ditching men for girls and keeping one boy just to carry the gear. The witch jumped to help. Cassive liked her energy, but her skills were the real asset. She asks about her hidden power and the king confirms he needs warriors to stop Eris from hurting his friends. Isha asked if she was involved. She was, but the temple's strict rules are why the king chose her first. She went quiet, doubting his spot. He snapped, asking if he was only picked because dwarves are natural fighters. KZH Cyrillic letter 456 said the hero's weird hobby is lolicon. Slad thought his friend picked an elf to steal powers, but his backup plan still worked. The king later saw their resolve and called it a lucky break. Complaints spiked with their activity. The team already knew Style 1, and Ares firing the Star Loader was a total disaster. The king sighed at the hero's unexpected end. The girls remained speechless. Cassive stands, asking if the heirs can slay a rare monster. The man agrees it's tough, grabs another bottle and sits back down. Pouring a drink, the king admits his plan to kill the demon king failed. The hero's team is panicking because Ares keeps causing trouble and even the royals are fed up. The elites heard the complaints and want the hero punished, so they're launching the king's secret backup plan. The saint asks his plan. He wants peace with the demon king to protect the people. Isha and the witch scream it's impossible, but the king faces the grim reality. Holy power might not be enough to win. Servants say this skill crushed the last demon lord, a non-unique beast who waged war with a massive spirit army. His Majesty didn't want him dead. He'd crush the army, then force the mastermind to make peace. Forget fairy tales about heroes slaying demon kings. The holy Kavas couldn't accept their mission was a lie from the start. Annoyed, she demands why the hero team even exists as Disha suddenly storms off. She knew the king had no choice, but if he'd given up, why was everyone still fighting? Ignoring the gossip and hero worship, she wished the king would just look away. Suddenly, Kavas locked eyes with Slad and blamed his old friend for everything. Hearing the kids on the continent, he realizes only the slayer of the Empress of Dragons 10 years ago could pull this off. The girls are stunned. The thief already knew. Erica reveals she was tipped off before the Nightmare Fairy, so Disha and Rameli corner Slad, demanding to know why they were kept in there. His team nearly died for that win, but the girls aren't satisfied. Slad says just being there to back them up was enough. The man calls him insane for bluffing, but the king's already plotting to let the hero face the demon king fueled by his own delusions. Racked with guilt, Kavas stood up and apologized to his friend, consumed by shame. Slad says skip the self-pity. This was different and he knew they gave it their all. Without the king's plan, he never would have met his loyal squad. Cassia felt guilty and uneasy, but the trial forged strong ties with the priests and the old continent's royalty. Eris is officially stripped of his hero title. It's time to pay for his crimes. Forget the public show, just take his powers. The king admits the trial was unfair and asks the elf about his skills. Scheicher agreed but moved slow, knowing Cassive wasn't fully sold on his peace deal. Seeing the legend in person, he realized the fairy tale was finally possible. The elf apologizes to Super Memory's owner, asking for one more use. She replies he's just stealing it from Ares. Erica finds Slad on the balcony. Noticing she's wasted, Slad asks if she's okay, but she brushes him off. Etika questions their deal with the king. The boy isn't sure, but he knows Ares is the world's hope, not its doom. Slad talked Kasva into showing him the court records, uncovering the hero's trail of victims. Ares never apologized. Despite his contempt, the world hailed him as a savior, letting him dodge prison and hard labor. Slap saw Ares as an arrogant, ungrateful brat who used women for pleasure and didn't care about anyone. He's losing his hero title. Etika sees her friend still worries about everyone, even Eris. He tells her not to worry, vowing never to forgive the ex-hero. Slad knows the man never apologized to his comrades or anyone else. Slad only remembered Ares as a hero who cursed and blamed everyone for his failures. Slate thanks a confused Etika. She did nothing, but he explains she helped him make his choice. She asks why, but he smiles. It's too early to retire. Slad chooses adventure, offering his hand and inviting the elf to join him. Etika's worried. She knew nothing before him, and though they've barely met, the elf trusts he'll teach her everything about the world. Calling Slad a kind soul, Etika joins his journey and asks him to watch her back. Slad leaves the elf and crashes, but Disha's late-night knock wakes him. He opens the door, asking why she's still awake. Mary's just in a nightgown, catching the boy off guard. He blushes, invites her in for tea, and they sit in awkward silence. She bowed low, begging for forgiveness. Slad was stunned. He had no clue why the Virgin Mary was apologizing, but she wailed that it was all her fault. Disha trembled, hiding her face. She realized she stood no chance against the monster Ares, and Slad knew exactly why. She'd been reading the hero's bad reviews. Disha snaps that Ari doesn't deserve to live, regretting she didn't end him sooner to save everyone. The Holy Virgin is now in tears. Slad admitted he's clueless about the hero's progress, and even Shicho and Disha are in the dark. She didn't back down. While others were blind, she knew the truth. The temple shielded Ares from justice, refusing to abandon the hero they'd spent years hyping up. The hero's power was a divine mistake meant for a monster, and Slad knew the church would never admit their god failed. She's sure the temple hides their crimes and skills, making Slad break a sweat. He knew the temple was radical, a group willing to do anything to prove their gods were superior. If they're behind this, he finally gets why they ignored the MC. Even Slad once begged them for help. Disha cursed her blindness. Despite her temple rank and power, she missed the scheme, focused solely on helping the hero crush the demonic plague. Eris wasn't the only problem. Sweet blamed herself. They were the hero's comrades, but they barely spoke. He regretted giving up on him. Now Slad orders shit to tail the hero. Ramain missed Ares' weird moves, and Chicho's guilt stopped him from stripping the hero's powers. The whole team was at fault. Disha was stunned, and Slad realized he'd never free the Virgin Mary from her guilt. He grips her shoulder and vows to always support her. Tilting his head, he reminds her this is his special talent. She locks eyes with him, tears streaming. Slad told her not to worry, but she grabs his hand and presses it to her heart. The blessed Virgin swore to reform the temple, begging her friend to trust her. Disha pins Slad to the couch. He trusts her. She vows never to fail him, and he doesn't doubt her for a second. Slada knew the Holy Maiden was blunt and hardworking. She threatened him constantly but never followed through. Suddenly, he broke into a cold sweat. He had no clue how much power she was actually hiding. She found a boy in her dreams by pure accident, and Sled was thrilled. The world is scarred, but the crew owns their actions. Legally innocent, the hero still carries the burden. Adventure starts. Slad hits the market, hunting for snail jelly and apple pie ingredients. Slad looks up from his list and spots a rowdy crowd. He heads over to ask a local what the hype is about. A caged, convicted hero arrives as guards bark at Arias to settle down. Screaming his sentence is unfair, the hero glares at the crowd and spots Slad, the man who ruined him. The hero snapped, screaming at the boy. Fueled by hate, Iri broke free and charged Slad, vowing to kill him. The traveler froze. The hero seized Slad, shouting it was the carrier's fault. Ares rains blows on Slad in a blind fury, but the man doesn't even flinch. The hero screams their betrayal. Another blow slams Slad, shaking the air. Slad drops an apple and everything clicks. Memories of Ares flood back. He cared for everyone, even the hero his team refused to forgive. Slad no longer saw Ares as a friend, as magic surged around him. Arias's fingers snap. He screams and collapses, seizing. The porters shock. The autobuff is still live as Slad looms over his former ally. Slad shouts a final goodbye to Arias and leaves, but the locals quickly surround them. Hero screams, soldiers swarm, and the commanders livid. The prisoners gone. Who'd target civilians? The orders in, capture Ares. Slad steps out to find the kids screaming death threats at the soldiers, wondering if the auto debuff failed now that the targets changed. Ares was attacking everyone in sight. Slad realized the hero was gone. He'd become a total monster. Back at the mansion, the team and a massive feast await, with Etika greeting him first. Ramiri asks about the noise while Shichak stuffs his face, tired of waiting. Disha snaps that the pie was for Slad and tells the elf to stop. Edik hugs his friend, telling him to drop the cold act after their 2-week wait, then invites him to the table. Disha and the elf traded drama for drinks. The team dug in, but as the girls chatted, Slad watched them closely. Yisha's back at the temple training with monks. Priests say it's unfit for a holy maiden, but she ignores them to forge her own path. Ramiri hits the royal palace to brew potions for the front lines, finally slaying monsters and crushing half-breed prejudice. She's Kashiba's new spy. After the ability theft left him in massive debt, he's forced to serve the king for free. Nightmare's been haunting the capital with sweet dreams, claiming the sweet streams as her new nightly home. Sentenced to death for his crimes, the fallen hero Eris is now powerless and nobody's surprised. Shicha stripped his skills, leaving Disha to guard him. The hero vanished and the team fell apart as everyone chased their own lives. Next day, Slad hits the forest. Exhausted from gathering herbs, he wipes his brow as Etika appears to check his progress. He backs away shyly. Confused, she asks what's wrong just as dark clouds suddenly swarm the sky. Etika froze, sensing danger. She bolted upstairs and told Slad with a shaky voice, "The sky looks wrong." He feels the tension as the elf screams, the capital is surrounded. Undead hordes scale the fence, clawing toward the helpless townspeople. Monsters breach the sacred barrier, shocking the heroes. Etika screamed to run, but Slad held her back. Individually, the undead were weak, but their numbers were overwhelming. Thousands of monsters now swarmed the city. The boy leaves the cold defense to Keish as a massive shadow looms. A dragon rider is racing toward the capital. The beast lands and its rider recognizes the boy as the bearer from Team Eris. He's Zelhar II, commander of the Demon King's Fallen Soul Squad. Slad realized a demon general stood before him, exposing how the undead breached the city. The death spell changed everything and he immediately shielded Etika. Slav realized forbidden skills made monsters lethal. Summoned right at the capital, the undead slipped in undetected. Scarier than the monsters is the mage leading them, the Demon King's elite commander, finally revealing his true power. Etika demands answers about the undead army. Zelhar reveals he's here to save Lord Eris from execution, putting the heroes on edge. The master is obsessed with this prisoner's arrogance, insane strength, and a soul so dark even spirits avoid him. Demons knew Ariza was a hopeless hero. He belonged in the Monster King's army. Slad agreed, Ares' soul is so dark he'd lead the Dark Army if he weren't a hero. Commander ids him as a scout, kill him to survive though it's already too late. Zelhar's massive undead army spells doom. Slad's auto debuffs could save him alone, but Etiko's presence ruins everything. Tricks and stones won't stop this army. Slad must act now to save his girl, screaming for Etika to run and leave him behind. The elf already decided. Stars rain from the sky, blinding the world in a massive flash. The spirit of justice appears. The girl squares up, warning the demon that Ares' crimes won't go unpunished. She screams, shaking everything. Stunned by the power, the hero yells, "What's happening?" She says the mule cleared the cold, leaving the hero stunned by her growth. She reveals she's been grinding quests with the crew for a month while he was gone. She claims she's leveled up, leaving the hero stunned. Talk later, fire now. They're shocked, but she demands trust and zero hesitation. Lucky he brought the magic flint. He sparks a fire and asks if it's enough. She says yes. The villain's impressed, but it's pointless. He mocks them, declaring himself the only winner. Hearing about this unique skill, the hero gets an idea. It lets him summon way more dead than any ordinary soul caller. Shame they got weak, he would have done things differently. He fused 1,000 small monsters into one massive beast. Sick as he was, he saw the fallen hero was ready, but doubted his wind could blow away such a giant. He swings his staff, ordering the golem to crush them into pancakes. The hero struggled to harness this massive power. Seeing this power, the hero knew the fire spirit salamander had to be stopped. Heroes shocked, she summoned a second spirit without Sylve vanishing. She's mastered multiple summons now, making him realize just how long he's been gone. The hero spins back to find the body already ash, but it's not over yet. The villain laughs, mocking their fire. It won't work here. With his soul master skill, resistance is futile, they can't win. He summoned the spirit, and the monster rose again. A massive beast towers over the boys. The hero's clueless and the girls shocked it's actually alive. Normally, the soul master can summon an infinite army of the dead. He could revive the golem infinitely. The hero was at his limit. She screams to burn him down, her spirit striking again. Giant cold died out, but it's already back. The villain cackles, screaming it's all in vain, but the girl finds a way. She dashes for the bow. She aims her arrow skyward to take out his controller. The arrow whizzes past the villain. He calls it dangerous. Bringing the air amulet paid off, it blocks physical hits and projectiles. Now he just needs Raymuri's long-range magic. Hero asks for a debuff to draw the golem's focus. Zelhar II isn't commanding it, this undead beast just hates the living and attacks on instinct. Don't let the golem hit you, skill or not. Even if it falls, Zelhar II will just summon more undead. She says her strength is all he gets. He apologizes, wishing he could control his automatic debuff to change everything. She steps up, telling him not to apologize. It'll be fine, he just needs to push harder. He asks for her plan. A massive blow slams the guys. She unleashes her power, declaring herself his rival. The girl gasps for life while Zelgart stays cold. Mana's full and he's not even tired. Is he spawning zombies from scratch instead of reviving them? He can't be this broken. The hero realized, if the Master of Souls can summon infinite undead, why hasn't he? She collapses, apologizing to Slad as the spirit's voices fade. He calls her incredible, but she insists he's cooler, claiming she's just a novice relying on borrowed spirit power. The spirits survived the Demon King's army only because of him. She told the confused hero to listen, his friends are this strong because of him. She tells him to be proud, her part is over, now he has to finish the scene. Zeller laughs at the girl's exhaustion, mocking the hero's despair. He yells for the hero to relax, his goodness is dragging them both to the afterlife. The hero reveals the afterlife is the Lord of Death's fifth special monster, exposing Zelhar II as a total liar. Selcharat realized if the army was infinite, he'd spam golems and undead forever. The fact he isn't proves his power has a limit. His Soul Master ability implies ghosts and spirits, yet Zelgar only summons zombies and skeletons. Since names usually match a power's essence, why this one? Second, his endurance is insane. Replicating cold is as hard as controlling the undead, yet Zelchar shows 0 mana drain. This skill doesn't use his energy, leaving only one answer. Zelchar roars he's sending them both to the next world with his kindness. The hero reveals the afterlife is actually the fifth unique monster, the Lord of the Dead. Zelkaha is impressed, usually only the necromancers who worship it know that secret. The hero finally realized Zelgar too was a total liar. The hero's undead legion rivals the Lord of the Dead. No servant of the 16th Demon King should match the power of the afterlife. Zelhar repeats his question, mocking the hero's doubt. It changes nothing, the hero's already lost. Zelhar orders the Golem of the Dead to crush him. A massive blow smashes the hero's spot. Zelhar mocks the porter for playing hero, but he should have kept running. Suddenly, the golem cracks, the hero was holding back. Slad held total power in one hand. One strike shatters the golem, bursting into thousands of undead scattering everywhere. Helgard II stared in shock. He yells in shock, but the hero's just baffled, he can summon infinite snot. The hero screams for action, the villain grits his teeth, cornered. Zelhar raises his staff, summoning the undead. His power fails. The hero realizes the staff isn't reviving the dead, just pulling them in. The Soul Lord can only harvest energy from a short distance. He puppets corpses with souls, and when they're destroyed, the spirits return to recharge his mana. Selkarf was right, Sylv broke the cold and he was secretly hooked. His undead strayed too far, leaving him weak. To recover, he summoned capital reinforcements and built a massive monster to ensure he never fails again. The hero stayed close, reclaiming the golem souls the wind defeated. He was winning easily until Ethics summoned the salamander, dragging the battle out. His army caps at 30,000, but with an artifact and his soul master skills, he harvests souls to refill his mana and raise the dead, the true secret to his. Zelhart's blown away by the hero's analysis. This guy is no ordinary loader. They introduced him as a simple loader or just some jobless guy. He roars his name to the enemy, Slad Maesty, the SSS rank adventurer who slew Dragon Empress Tiamat 10 years ago. Zelhar laughs, dismissing the hero's words as total nonsense. Beating the Demon King's father is impossible. Shocked the king is the Dragon Empress's son, the hero faces a massive army. Zelhar begs for help, but hero reminds him he literally just said that. He remembered Zeller ordering the golem to crush the bearer. Zeller was confused, then suddenly screamed. His dragon crashes, leaving Zelgar baffled. The hero claims it's just exhausted, ordering Zelgar to pull all warriors off the walls to help, but Zelgar has no clue what's happening. Explosions roar as the enemy watches his limitless army crumble. The hero scoffs, "You knew your numbers were finite, but you gambled anyway." She screamed for help, using Salaf's wind magic to instantly alert her allies. Everyone plays a part. Ethics puts Shaichen's words into action and Zeller sees the results. Two girls charge. Zelhar too is stunned by the witch and Maiden's massive power spike. The hero explains they were only weak because Eris held them back. Zelhar charges to finally end the hero but fails. A noble thief swiped his staff. It's forbidden, but the guild pays for research. She's fuming she has to deal with this lowlife. Enemies drop dead as he screams in confusion. That staff only obeys sorcerers from the world of the dead. She's a noble thief who bypasses artifact limits, meaning his infinite army won't obey him anymore. The boy screams as attacks rain from the sky. Finally the enemy's down. The hero stunned. They collapse, barely surviving. The thief is spent, but she snaps that herb hunting is brutal, calling out Shichai for just watching the fight. Shichai stays silent, unsure how he could. Hero claims he'll steal the Master of Souls. She's stunned, unique skills can't be stolen, it's impossible for him. The girls rush to check on Slet and Etika. Etika's safe but drained, and the hero thanks Disha for the backup. She thinks he's cocky, but he admits it was easy. Standing still wouldn't expose the weakness of the lifeless, he had to provoke them. The witch spots the fallen demon and moves in for a closer look. Zelgert survived and demands to know what the half-breed wants. She asks about Karnd, the demon eyes her closely. He smiles, claiming he's never heard that, so she tells him she's done. Zelhar mocks the disrespectful half-breed, questioning her loyalty to demon haters before offering a swift death. Disha refuses, glancing at her friends as the demon laughs. Killing him is useless, the demon king will just bring him back. Shocked, the girls asked if he could really revive the dead. Michai mocks the demon's constant lies, demanding surrender. Zelhar sees an advantage, the lord inherited life control from his mother. He's no pawn, he's the commander of the dead, and he's coming back to claim their souls. Trembling at the mirror, she hopes the demon king can revive her mother, but the thief doubts it's even possible. Michai says these artifacts don't exist. If he's right, reckless people control life and death, and that's a disaster. Everyone froze in dead silence. The hero realized the truth. The demon king can revive the dead, but he doubted Zelgar would get that honor. Zalkar's fears are confirmed. Uzumgar's castle is rubble, and the demon dragon king can't fathom how he lost. Fallen squad commander Ushimgar, Akazeller, relies on his special skills. The servant asks his plan, and the lord's answer is simple: bring him back to life. Valuing his elite mastery, the king ordered Zeller II to rise. Zelgar never shows, the master's confused, and his servant demands to know why. The lord asks why the commander won't see reason and answer his summons. Terrified, he denied everything, but the master roared that his orders are absolute and no one ignores them. The servants had no answers, so the lord killed him. The king roared, baffled by the failure. Bodies lay scattered in pools of blood. The servant stood in the same spot, remembering exactly where he'd been. The lord demands thanks for the revival, and the servant drops to his knees, overflowing with gratitude. The king trusts his power, so why is Zalchar II silent? A servant steps in to explain. The king orders him to handle it. The servant asks, can your power resurrect anything? Furious, the king asks if he'd even understand the reason for his answer. The servant says it's possible, but the king reveals 3 types of beings his mother's power can't resurrect. The king couldn't revive rare beasts or anyone he'd never met. He can't revive those who die of old age. The servant realizes Zahara was murdered and her lifespan stolen. The lord asks if anyone can do it, and the servant confirms it's possible. The king buys the logic over blaming Zelkart. The servant thinks he's safe, but the king orders his execution anyway. Servant S revived, but the king sentences him to 10,000 deaths just for doubting his own power. He starts counting the kills. At 10,000, the king stops the bill and orders him to rise. He missed the hero, so it's back to business. The lord was in a bind, but the kid was worth it. He needed a new plan and asked his staff for ideas. Already in bad shape, he stubbornly insisted he was right until his speech failed him. Furious, the king orders 10,000 more executions. He resumed the count and summoned the Black Raven's commander, who arrived instantly. He ordered Ares captured alive, asking if he could handle it. Black Raven swore he'd pull it off. The ruler's command was final. Elsewhere, a man scratches his beard, muttering that if resurrection is real, it's a massive headache. Slad, die from old age and you stay dead. The hero's dragon empress power makes it permanent. 10 years ago, monsters killed by his aging debuff never returned. Dragon Emperor's immortal army keeps reviving, but Slant's skill just turned the tide. Victory is useless if the enemy doesn't stay dead. Tactics must change. Sled notes this foe is more precise than the Dragon Empress, reviving only 1 or 2 at a time. The thief calls resurrection suspicious. Why didn't the Demon King just wait for Ares' execution? The girls agree something's off. This power has limits. Forget restrictions, Ares is the priority. Killing him now is reckless if he revives, but the girl argues it doesn't matter since his hero skill is gone. Mickey thinks he's perfect for the rabbit demon army, but Disha calls Ares a skillless weakling who will learn the hard truth once he's drafted. Everyone agrees. Slad offers to debuff him if things go south, but the man cuts him off. No need for torture yet. King postpones the execution for now. He smiled, thanked the guys, and vowed to repay them one day. Meaty leaves, the saint heads back to the temple and Disha gets to work, but the hero hesitates. Asked what's wrong, he admits that while breakups shouldn't be the end, he's feeling a crushing loneliness he never felt, even after getting kicked from the team. He once accepted being ignored, but now everything's changed. He's leading those who finally see his true power and are ready to follow him. He's got a crew now and craves more adventure. He's already got a plan. Get the team back together. Morning hits, hero wakes, suits up and brews coffee with a yawn. A massive breakfast feast sat right before them. 2 months post-verdict, the hero reads that the fake is already on the brink. Hero chokes on his coffee, and the girl beside him instantly asks what happened. Slad rebuilt the team, but 2 months without a single mission has him spiraling. He ditched his morals for power. Now he's living in a massive mansion and feasting on gourmet desserts. He let the Savior King's words go to his head. Growing so arrogant, he led everyone into a massive disaster without even realizing it. She admitted life was quiet but perfect, showing off her new suit. Our hero realized peace is nothing like the thrill of adventure. Slad's fuming why waste SSS rank power on herbs and goblins. Ethics is over it too, but she leaves the final call to him. Tika's acting like a helpless kid who can't decide anything, so he tells her to finally do some real work. Erica presents a new task. Midia bails, assuming it's more goblin slaying. Ramery offers to gather herbs instead, refusing to hunt more goblins. Ethics laughed, promising today gets interesting. The thief thinks the pay for 30 kills is a scam, but the girl points out the real prize, a rank up to D. Success means rank D and the thief gets the hype. Ramery agrees Etika's still rank E and needs the boost. Even the hero's stoked she's finally grinding for that promotion. Hero asks the witch for extra potions. The boys cheer and he realizes they're exhausted from the endless goblin raids. Hero calls Disha while they prep. Moments later, 2 men clash blades. Brunette collapses. Esker of Renova takes the win as the crowd goes wild. Passing by, the hero notices the search for his successor is already underway. Ares is dethroned and hero wannabes are swarming to take his spot. Disha hates the selection, but then a mysterious outsider crashes the party. It's Dasha. The hero spots her heading to the laundry, offers to help, and she accepts. Helping with laundry, he asks why the Virgin Mary is doing chores meant for underclassmen. She insists she's fine and wants to do it herself. But she skipped today's hero selection. Disha calls it pointless. They won't find anyone because this selection is just a basic physical test based on old hero legends. She believed true heroes don't just chase dreams, they do whatever it takes to save the world. Title chasers never pass the selection. It's a brutal test, but Ares makes it necessary. She asks why he's here, so he reveals Etika's new mission. Disha offers to help, but when he asks about her work, she admits she's idle. The priest handles everything and their temple is too simple for anyone to actually seek a holy. She figured the guys needed it more, hoping to find a real hero along the way. The hero sees the truth from the window and heads inside, where Disha spots the girl and demands an explanation. She laughs, bragging her hard work and service skills earned this, then vaults the counter to reach the MC. The saint screams for Slad to run. This woman is dangerous. She approaches the hero, says it's been ages, and asks if he's alright. He doesn't recognize her. She claims she once confessed her love, but he's still totally clueless. He finally realizes she's talking about the marriage application. Selinia apologizes for the late intro. He asks why she's at the guild and she reveals she tracked him down. She's not letting him go. She demands respect. Her hard work boosting sales earned her this spot. He praised Seleni's persistence but stopped short, realizing everyone already saw the truth. Nietzsche calls their bond fascinating. Romri questions the wedding while Disha nearly punches him over cheating suspicions despite his principles. Hero says he's single and isn't seeing ethics. The hero explains Aelinea only helped him post-exile and there's nothing between them. The thief admits he already knew, leaving the hero wondering why he got beat up. Selena calls the hero boring but lets it slide just this once. She forgave him to be the perfect future wife. She bolts, leaving everyone stunned. Selena tells Etika she's ranking up by slaying an orc, but Vors senses something's off about her tone. Selena denies it, claiming she only assigns tasks by skill and Slad's team wasn't ready. The guy tells her to shut up. The boy questions his new leadership, but Nietzsche insists he's the only choice. Despite his doubts, they check the mission: kill 30 orc scouts at the Hater. Eliminate the Demon King's orc scouts. The pay is per kill, beats my guild's rates and boosts your rank. Find their camp and wipe them out. Hero calculates 180 gold per orc plus a 150 bonus, pure profit. The thief warns the pay is rigged, they once killed a deadly goblin for almost nothing. She laughs, making the quest optional since another team is already hunting the camp. Michai's shocked anyone can join, but Selinia warns, if the rivals kill the orcs first, Kai demanded more gold, but since another team already took the job for cheap, the client refused. Knowing others would work for pennies, Kai mocked the royal army for being. Hero finally sees why orc hunts are mandatory for rank. The royal army is using these quests to draft a new force from the adventurers. The thief is impressed, the hero saw the truth instantly. She claims she's a clueless newcomer, but the hero catches her lie. Unfazed, she offers a quest to boost their rank. Do they accept? The hero finally agrees, and she's seconds from placing the seal. Chichik hauls her up, demanding the bounty for slaying mutants and rare monsters. Selena says the pay is fixed, so the thief bails, betting a D-rank party can handle those giant orcs. She stops them, arguing adventurers must help others and set an example. She agrees, but survival is priority. The group decides if they join the battle. He asked if they had to help. The hero got it. Kindness is fine, but forced unpaid labor is a deal-breaker. For most, this is just a job. Shichai doesn't care about anyone. Slad learned the hero's golden rule: never interrupt Shichai's deals. Even Ares obeyed that one. She lied. Slad is SSS rank, demanding a massive payout to match. She agrees, hunt elite monsters and she'll sway the guild master. Shichai's hyped for the deal. Baisho feared the extra monster, but Shichai was too vital to risk. He and Rimmer had no choice, they set off anyway. The thief's hyped for the extra reward on a monster he'd kill anyway, but the hero reminds him he claimed not to care about others. She says he's heartless, but he still dives into the fight. He can't just watch. No time to waste, the orcs spotted them, wipe them out now. The carriage pressed on. Ramiri asks what Etika's up to. She's applying an anti-odor potion she uses before every job. Mistaking it for perfume, the witch leans in for a sniff. Remedy has no scent but relies on smell. Etika hates the stench of monsters, so the seller suggests this potion to help her smell sweet for Slad. Slad says he'd ignore her stench. She snaps at him to shut up, and Ramuri mocks the hero's delicate manners. The witch warns Etika about marriage, so the hero pivots to their 5-man mission. He asks if they need backup, but the witch says Etika's dwarf summons are enough. Slad can hold the front line alone, so that's his mission. Hero's shocked they planned everything while he slept. He hates being sidelined, but Ataka explains the enemy weakens in his presence. Ramuri adds Dishad is still clueless while the hero panics. He's only ever fought goblins. The girl promises they'll escape, but Disha spots someone lurking behind the rocks. The thief suspects bandits. Disha's demon tracking failed and she felt no muscle, but the girl insists he's at his peak. Romri plans to snipe bandits for target practice, making the hero pity her victims and realize he's way too normal for this. Disha warns letting Slad get close is a death trap. The hero hugs the saint in thanks. Etika warns Slada's autobuff triggers on contact, but Romari notes it won't fire at range. Chiichi promises they've got his back and Disha agrees weakening him early is the move. They swore to protect him, claiming the training was vital for the monster. He wished Romari was in his shoes, but he agreed to try. Disha promises to heal him but casts a shield just in case, acting like a total mom. Convinced only Disha cared, he stayed hopeful. Nightmare appeared, calling this their shared adventure, but she swore him to secrecy when he tried to reveal her. If they spot a 16-pillar, they'll panic, and she won't allow it. Enemies cleared, they're already primed for battle. The thief gives Ramara the first move, and she unleashes Burning Fog. Burning Mist tracks enemies with Caustic Fog, but the high band without bass won't fall for such a basic trick. Screaming and suffocating in the fire, the men charge forward. Ramari's curse was still brutal. Auto-enhancement made the burning mist so thick enemies could barely breathe. Thief and Slad take the bridge while the rest hunt the escapees. Ethics took control. Bandits charge, the thief claims the win and demands the hero's backup. Crossing the bridge, 2 bandits nearly strike Shicha. He dodges effortlessly, leaving the bandits weaponless. Shicha grins, flashes the clicker, and asks if they're looking for this. The bandit mocks the hero's lack of armor, but an auto debuff instantly drops his attack power to 0. They couldn't even scratch him. Still terrified, he needed to get out fast. Bandit strikes again from above, screaming he won't miss as his blade flashes inches from the hero's face. He strikes, but his blade shatters and flies away. Debuff neutralized, Disha's holy armor protects the hero as he grabs the bandit. Vad triggers his main skill and throws. Vanguard wasn't for him. Terrified and facing the last leader, he's asked, will he continue this senseless struggle? Stunned by his army's defeat, the man collapses. The thief demands his life, so the judge finishes him with a sleep spell. The man drops, Ethics is relieved, but the saint spots something off. Trembling on the ground, he's asked if he's for real. The winner is still a mystery, but she's shocked one fight gassed him. He snaps at her to stop. They finally realized Slad's a trash vanguard. He's physically weak, surviving only through constant buffs. That works on dumb goblins but not humans. The witch apologized for forcing him. He told her not to worry, he thought he could handle it. He still calls him her hero. Still annoyed, her words lift his spirits. Erica asks about the bandits and Sheik decides to drag the leader to the city, leaving the rest for the road guards. Shicha explains leaders get the biggest cut, but Disha warns they can't save everyone. If guards arrive, it's the gallows or the mines. If monsters outrun the guardians, they'll pay in blood. Her only job is to sanctify the fallen with holy water, preventing them from rising as undead after being eaten. Etika knew they were doomed. The leader yelled he had zero regrets leaving them for the monsters, then begged for freedom, promising to never attack again. The thief begs Ramaria for help. She truth spells the leader to see his plans if freed. The bandit roared he'd keep killing and looting, the peak of cool in this world. The thief warns Etika that these rams never change, they live for chaos and refuse to repent. Etika instantly loses all pity, but the guys are actually grateful for the ram. They eye the mountains, but Ramary points north. The demon and orc realm lies beyond. Erica asks about these lands, learning that 50 years ago, before the Great War, Etika's more than a guard, he's at Seawood's border. These mountains are too rugged for armies, so adventurers hunt the monsters. She wonders, why not just seal? It's a temporary fix. If the orcs dig tunnels, it's game over. These dumb brutes smash through any obstacle, so Kai Kai tracks them while the team rests. Shichai leads the way, mocking the orcs' sloppy tracks as they quickly spot the enemy camp. 10 humans, no mutants. Romri wants to roast them, but the hero lets Etika take the lead to boost her rank. Etika steps up and the hero tells her to clear the field safely. She'll burn them with salamander fire, refusing Sylphia's bow. Disha casts holy armor for protection while Ramary adds a magical title. Etika thanks them, so the girls double down on buffs. Disha boosts her defense while the witch stacks every protective spell imaginable. Perched above, the hero asks if this is overkill for basic orcs. The thief smirks, what exactly? Jetch saw that familiar smile, the same one from his days helping people with Arius. She says he finally gets the hero's pain. Her past made her a loner until now. The hero loved the sound of that. Guys pitch the tent and Etika crashes. She loved it, fighting those orcs drained her energy. Noticing his weird expression, the witch asks what's wrong. The hero wonders, were ethics always this powerful? The saint's skeptical since Etika's a total rookie who hasn't even fought goblins, but the witch admits she stepped up in the last battle. She sniped every head and heart. His auto buff was carrying her, the hero realized. He supported Ares too, but Etika's already outclassing the former hero and his sacred weapon. The saint agrees. Slad recalls buffing E-rankers on an old mission, but the power only spiked after he leveled up. The saint asks, isn't this power of ethics a good thing? Slad acted happy, but the witch noticed something was off about his face. Ethics doesn't realize its own strength. Since joining him as a rookie, it thinks every win is just thanks to his enhancements. He hated her self-doubt, but the witch revealed he and Etika were stronger than they could ever imagine. The hero knows ethics have power, but only skill makes it real. The fire's dying, so the hero heads out to chop more wood. The witch screams and the saint asks what happened. She demanded their attention, but the guys were too busy eating to care. Imri gathered everyone to reveal her brilliant plan. She dubbed it the heroic plan of Sleddy. Everyone's stunned as the thief asks if she's figured out Slad's powers. Kicked from his team for his weird power, he's now a jobless hero dubbed the Invincible Unemployed. Etika claims he has zero skills, but the sorceress says they. Rimmery says acting like a hero is enough, no skills required. Slad's clueless and the hero thinks he needs more buffs, but he's at his limit. The witch obsessed over making Slad a hero, asking if he could keep the buffs while ditching the skills penalty. She brewed an elixir to fix the mess, but the witch's love was too powerful and no one else agreed. Ramary says wizards hunt for answers and never quit no matter the failure, that's just who they are. The boys thought her mom taught her that to scare people, but Romary was crushed by Eris's true identity. The witch refused to quit, racking her brain for a plan. She loved brewing a potion to kill his interest in women, earning her a sadist label from the thief. Too bad for her, Eris is a hero with an unbreakable mind. The witch approaches Sheikah to apologize, but he's totally clueless. He begged for mercy, clueless of her plan, but she turned away to finish her work. The amp scales with level, but Slad's warnings forced a pivot. If she can't pre-activate it, she'll just get stronger and dump her massive power directly into it. The thief finally realized she was begging for forgiveness. She apologized, saying he was her only hope. He wasn't worried she owed him now. Etika's clueless but explains Ares' thief skill. He steals abilities and turns them into candy for Slad to eat and gain their power. The witch apologizes, knowing she hates the skill but still asks to strip her massive power. She should just agree, but she screams she's a sorceress who doesn't need the skill, it'll be way more useful for Slad. She knew he'd use it right, he needed it way more than she did. Chichu agrees to the gamble. If it fails, they'll just reset. He makes his move. Shove her through the witch. He flashes behind her, ball in hand. The girl slowly comes to. Hero rushes to her side as she collapses. He just swiped the skill she revealed, certain you still won't see how Shicho steals powers. The thief asks if she was born with it. To live normally, Romary mastered control, now her muscles can't function without it. Without scales, she can't move, but she gives them to her boyfriend anyway, proving she can stand on her own. Isha didn't want to upset her, but without Slad, she wouldn't have lifted a finger. She's lost, but the thief tells Edix the truth, a skill is nothing without its user. The witch claimed she didn't need the skill, but her body disagreed, so he shoved it right back into her mouth. Word spread she praised his guard duty. The thief asks why the hero's early before the guard shift. The hero just wanted to check on him. Romary apologized for the old beef, and he's totally cool now. He's worried about Rimri. She insisted on using Slad, but she'd already met Skilltept. She knew this topic would trigger the group, but Romary prioritized him over the entire company, even if she didn't realize it yet. Hero didn't buy it, believing the half-blood witch finally felt at home. She asked if he remembered Ramira joining. She liked Eris first, but his kindness. He supported her after the Iris reveal, but she'd wanted him stronger since his days as a kind porter. Saved from demons, she changes her tune and thanks the heroes. Their bond peaked once the truth came out. Romary was ecstatic. Her idol wasn't just a bearer but a legendary SS-rank adventurer. Suddenly Romer speaks. She joked Slad was a jobless hero, but he ignored it. Romary admired that hero most, and the thief warns she's not giving up her plan. She said goodnight, leaving Sled stunned to be Romary's hero. The Ares incident bonded them, but they still barely know each other. Next day, Disha spots 6 muscle-infected monsters. The thief scouts ahead and Etika's impressed. Confused, he demands the truth. She admits skill stealing is insane, but Ethica is floored that these powers can be kept or even gifted to others. Disha was impressed, but something else shocked her more. After yesterday, she knew she could crush anyone. Ramira and Etika doubt her, so Sveta asks, what if Shichai stole Etika's priestess skill? Etika protests, but Disha tells her to just play along. Etika shut it out, their friendship was dead. Plus, Disha revealed priestesses can talk to spirits. Etika's losing everything just like Slad. Slad knew the truth, but hearing it still cut deep. Disha's class skills like spirit summoning will vanish along with her magic. Like demons, adventurers gain power through quests or forbidden tasks. The saint claims this power grants any magic, but Sada's empty, no class, no skills, and nothing to steal. Hero thinks he can exploit or steal the provocation, but the witch scoffs. Shicha already knows those basics. Feeling useless, the hero waits as Shicha finally returns. Girls swarm him with love, but he yells for space. The saint praises Siho's honesty, confident he'd never misuse his powers against his friends. The boy reports 6 massive orcs ahead, shocking the saint that they've invaded the kingdom. She asks about the royal army, but Shicha only found their armor. Edix is stunned by their power, but the witch reveals high orcs aren't mutants, they're true demons. While normal orcs have different roles, every high orc is a purebred warrior. Hero says their skills make them deadly, but Etika stays wary. The thief relies on a sneak attack. Disha weighs their odds, and the witch reminds Etika she's already cornered Zurhani once. She's ready to finish the job. Etika steadied herself, recognizing the demon, then triggered her acceleration. She summons a fireball and blasts the enemies. The guys realize the fight is going perfect without them. Etika's crushing it, and Disha credits her for making monster hunting way easier. Hero wanted the final blow, so Rhymery held back her magic. The saint offered dwarf backup or Sada's shield, but the hero refused. The enemies were crushed instantly, never getting a chance to cast. The last orcs can't escape. Sylve buffs her fireball with wind as the team's synergy peaks, and Etika finally realizes Slad is a master tactician. Rimuri backed her, praising Slad's genius tactics. The girls hugged, finally bonding. Even Holiday believed Slad masterminded the Erisbait plan. Rimar's shocked Disha didn't invent the plan. The hero admits Eris rejected his ideas, so Disha stepped in. It's a risky gamble only possible with Disha's holy. Romri exposes Slad as the puppet master using Ares. Slad laughs, joking he looks like a villain. As she hugs him, he scoffs that it's not just his plan, the orcs are just weak. The thief warns the hero, these orcs are elite, rocking top-tier gear and anti-magic items. Ramiri's shocked, Shichai ids them as the Lord's elite and finds a direct order from the demon lord himself. They started for the ethics but found what truly matters. The thief warns their elite decked in top-tier mithril. The saint notices Shichu acting weird, usually he's screaming about selling loot but now he's dead silent. Sheha found the demon lord's orders. The saint thinks it's a joke but it's real, the high orcs are on a secret mission. Now they can track the demon lord's army and find a path straight to the boss. In the city, the worker asks if one orc leads the seven. The hero wonders, is she just that scared? The hotel guy sells gear while the witch teleports it in. Since high orc equipment is lightweight mithril, hauling it is a breeze. Ramari's hypercompression shrinks objects while keeping their full weight, pure power. Hearing mithril makes the worker blush. They claim they're heading to the capital, so why are they near the Idra Mountains? Her concern is valid. Sea-level adventurers were ambushed by armored demons in the mountains. Rookies would have been slaughtered. Even worse, Sheka found orders signed by the demon lord. She composed herself. Edix reminded them the monster-slaying bonus was still on. The worker agrees. The hero expected shock, but she doesn't even flinch. The girl says the guildmaster is out, delaying their reward until tomorrow. The thief sighs. He knew Selena just wanted to introduce them to the boss. Etika asks for a bonus, and the thief agrees they need to negotiate with the guild master, a meeting Selena was already planning. Their goals align. Etika suspects a scam, but Shichai points to the massive reward, schooling her that real negotiation is about mutual profit, not force. Selena apologizes and buys dinner so they can recover. Etika warns her to stay away from the hero, but Selena says she's no threat. They toast to rising ethics. Disha asks Shichai his drink count while the witch jokes he drinks like a total alcoholic. Shichai asks who drinks this sweet stuff, but Raymarie warns it's Outsvale, a heavy hitter. Esvita stops the pour as Etika's already feeling sick. She claimed she was fine, she wasn't. The saint questioned the hero's ethics, but he didn't care. Elite wine is great, but nothing beats hanging with friends. Hero missed his peaceful tavern days, but the thief reminded him they were closing in on their goal. The witch asks to rank up ethics, but he calls her a fool. He's pushing the whole team to S rank. The saint says one A rank is enough for quests, but the thief knows a full S rank squad skips the red tape. They refuse to yield, following their hearts alone. After an apology, a man asks the hero if he's Slad. Hero confirmed it was him, sensing something off. The man grinned, he was right, and the hero was lucky. The hero respected this darkness. It bled from the man, darker than any night, with a raven's gaze that pierced the soul. The man brings the hero some incredible news. The hero's team is busy celebrating a rank up. The man is shocked since the hero is already SSS rank, but Sled explains the promotion is for his crew. The man sneers, calling them unworthy comrades who can't reach the top. The hero explodes, enraged that a nameless stranger would dare insult his friends. Furious at the man's nerve, the hero doesn't recognize him. He's Black Raven, deputy head of the Pura Triumph clan. He asks if the hero remembers him. Clans unite adventurer groups to tackle exclusive guild missions. The hero's never heard of this guild-sanctioned group. Weiss is shocked, so Shikai explains Victory's Pyre is a massive kingdom clan of A-rank elites. White ignores Shichai to talk to Slad, but the thief refuses to hand over their leader. The others panicked, the thief crossed his fingers. Groups use secret signals. Shichai's means don't take the bait, and Y knows if the enemy recognizes him, they'll realize interfering is a death sentence. Shocked, the Black Raven II leader is recruiting personally. She asks who leaked Slad's name. He keeps the source a clan secret and turns back to the hero. Will he join? Hero refuses, sticking with his squad. Weiss leaves, telling him to bond with his team before deciding. Etika spills her drink on Weiss. Hero's screaming inside. Etika knows the signals, but she's too drunk to notice. She yells she doesn't know him and won't let him kill. He grabs her neck, calls her a disease, and mocks her lack of manners. He asks how many of her cheap dresses equal the cost of the suit she ruined. Slad snapped, telling him to keep his hands off morality and say it again. Weiss was hyped by the power. He lets her go, insisting he's not her enemy. She questioned the Raven's intel on Slade. Weiss regretted their first clash, but he wasn't done with him yet. Why expect the hero? Etika screams she'll pay whatever it takes for those rags. She warns Slada's gone forever. Weiss apologizes for the mess, calling the carnage his final apology. Think you're better, you're just waste.